Today on 8.5-bit, we pull a Pokemon, pull some string, and pull a root. Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 291 of 8.5-bit. I'm your host, Paul, and joining me today, I'm my good friends, James.
Hello.
And James. You know, that wasn't even an on-purpose thing. This is my brain not working. and Sam.
Hi.
But good job not answering to James. I know it's...
Why didn't I answer twice, though?
Yeah, what are you doing, man?
It still shows how much I'm not actively...
I went to answer and stopped.
I'm not actively listening and just sort of on autopilot mode.
And the games in tonight's intro were, of course, Pokemon Snap, Filament, and Root. And it's a bit of a stretch for that intro, but who cares? How have you boys been?
Pretty good.
Yeah, quite decent.
Yeah.
It's been a good couple of weeks.
Baby stuff, but...
Yes, I've gone part-time now.
Yeah, you have.
So I'm a part-time worker. Well, but
part-time
full-time dad.
Yeah,
that's been good. Babies.
Yeah, they're certainly...
Let's talk about babies for the next 27 minutes.
What do you reckon about that, Sam?
They exist.
Yeah.
More and more people I know are having them.
Yeah, there seem to be... It's getting to that
all the
time.
rage.
None of them seem to regret it, which I find weird. But
Oh, everyone regrets it. Don't worry about that.
just not outwardly.
Yeah. Oh, you just got to get the right day.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Like the kind of rule of thumb is if you've got like 5 out of 7 days bad, then something's wrong.
Okay.
If you're like,
so
2 out of 7.
you need like a less than half.
Yeah, it's okay.
So it's just how I live my life, but with a baby.
Before I had Henry, I looked at the stats, and the stats said that people with children were no less happy than people without.
Well, no, that's because everyone is unhappy.
Yeah, generally, yes. But there's no difference to the outlook in life, so why not?
It's just a different,
it's a different path, but it's not going to be better or worse. It'll just be good in its own way.
It's actually very difficult to be objective about what you're doing beforehand once the kid comes along, because things are so different. It's just it's like a branching narrative path. It's like, well, gone down this way now. The path was...
It's closed off. You can't do all of it.
You can't save Scum Life.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah. Just wait till we can store memories and roll
Singularity,
them back.
just clone it out.
I think I want to have kids.
Let's just
Quick
see.
save.
Reload.
But then you get that thing where you accidentally hit save instead of load and you're screwed.
Oh, yeah.
I've done that a few times.
What, in life?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay, video games and stuff. What a time to be alive. I finished up first series of Invincible this morning. I think it was the end
What
of
a
it.
good show.
Yeah. Like, it's like somebody watched the first Snyder Superman movie and said, like, what if but good?
Yeah.
And I try to say that in the most generally non-spoilery way as possible, because even though it's a different story, it touches on many of the same ideas and themes, but actually like follows through a little bit. Otherwise, it's just a mature superhero story.
So is it like comparable to like The Boys or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It's not like it's deep and meaningful and you're just gonna like blow your mind away and like this has touched me as a person. But it's like, I like kind of subversive superhero stuff, and frankly just general superhero stuff as well. It's very, for the most part, just very standard superhero-y, but then with a couple of twists.
Because I started watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, yes?
Which for some reason, I thought it was a sci-fi. I don't know why. Though
I think it is too. I thought it was like a pirate in a sci-fi world.
That's what I thought. And it's a crazy show. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually it becomes that. But right now, it's like 1800s London.
Okay.
It's like a Victorian thing.
Are there pirates?
I think at some point. I don't know. It is.
They didn't want to step on One Piece's toes.
It is a very... Have you watched it?
Everything I know about JoJo is from the internet. I haven't watched it, but I know more than enough.
It is a very enjoyable show.
It is. One strange piece of media.
I kind of love it. Because it's so like watching an anime from the 80s with like that kind of color palette. The proportions are all wrong. Like the shoulders are massive, heads are tiny. And that kind of art style. but really polished and really nice.
There's a lot of polish
So
on it.
it's like polishing up a really good turd. Like, just from that really kind of...
That's something we can all enjoy.
that kind of janky anime style from, like, the 80s. And it's so fast-paced and so over-the-top and dramatic. It's just... I don't know. I'm finding a joy to watch. Like, I've watched, like, first episode just off... Because it's at Netflix now. And I'm like, I've heard about it. I'll watch this sci-fi show.
Joke's on you. That's how they get you.
It's like each first episode will be like, oh, they're like, I think it's like 14 or something like that. And then like a whole bunch of shit will happen. And then be like 8 years later, boom. Like, it's just like,
I like things that move at that pace.
It's very fast. Yeah. Recommend it. I've been having a very good time watching it. It is so dumb, but in the best ways.
They definitely put the bizarre into the bizarre adventure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I'll look at it, because I think of all I've seen is like bad fighting games from... God, I don't even know what generation now. I feel like there are a few around the PS3 generation, JoJo's games.
I don't know. Because I
unsure.
Yeah, like I thought it was sci-fi, and maybe it does get that. I don't know, but it's a very enjoyable show to watch. I've been having a good time.
I'm just going to see what games there were around what period. See if got a bit of a list of JoJo.
What a world
games.
we live in, where you can just look this shit up.
I knew there were SNES ones
instead of just believing what you think you know.
Yeah, I mean, sort of all over the place. Starting at SNES.
Oh wow! I didn't realize it's that old.
Yeah, going through, then sort of PS3, then mobile ones. I guess PS3 was the last time there was a full-blown console one. So I'm going to chalk that up as a win to Paul.
We were competing?
Yeah.
Apparently. Paul was.
Oh, yeah, I compete with myself, yeah. Yeah, and there was...
Paul wins because the thing he thought he knew was what he knew.
Would do, yes. Yeah. 0.1 Paul.
The last JoJo's Bizarre Adventure game was Last Survivor in arcades, and it was, of course, a Battle Royale game.
Of course it was.
Yeah. Good times. Okay, let's talk about some actual games. Now, before we get into the real meat, which is me talking about the puzzle game Filament, we're all excited for, maybe we should talk about the Pokemons.
Yeah, because it'll be quick and easy.
Oh.
Maybe.
Well, that's good. Well,
can I just start with just me revisiting Pokemon Sword? Because I can keep that pretty short.
No.
Yes, I've been playing...
So go for it. I have no objections, James.
Do we need this as a lead-in for your Pokemon
well, I just want to get it out of the way.
Okay, let's just divert so James can wipe this shit off his shoe.
I've been having a good time with Pokemon Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you have to do is forget about the things the internet tells you should do in a Pokemon game.
Well, the big difference between me playing this Pokemon game and previous Pokemon games is I am not trying to catch them all.
Yeah.
I'm just going... Cause,
I stopped trying to do that 4 generations ago.
And it is a very enjoyable, like, it's a much more pleasant experience when I don't feel like I have to complete every route.
You just make a team, get through it, have fun fighting.
Because each route, it's actually pretty short.
Yeah, they
so
are.
it's like, as like a game I can play in the evening when baby's calming down, I'm just lying in bed. It's really good. It's like, I'm just going to do Route 8 today. And then I do it. And I'm going to fight the gym leader tomorrow.
Perfect.
And then I do it. Yep.
Bite-sized chunks of Pokemon.
It's good Pokemon.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so that takes up our allocation of one Pokemon game per show.
Moving on.
So, moving on. I'm watching a new trailer for Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Have they got some cool tilt shift filter on it?
Not really.
It's not a Hot Wheels game then.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, it's orange tracks. I kind of think that the old Forza one looked better, but it still looks cool.
That's what I was wondering. They're just taking that kind of shader tech from Forza, the Hot Wheels, because that looked real nice.
It looked real sexy.
Yeah.
The level that they go to for those DLCs for Forza Horizon,
it's mildly insane.
Yeah, like I remember them talking about the Lego one. It's like, oh yes, well, we didn't just build like a block cart and then texture. It's like each one's an individual.
They built Lego bricks,
and we didn't just make them like a 6-sided polygon. No. It's we made sure that like the plastic is warped and everything in the ways that it should. And like, it's just Lego. It's like you guys are. I guess it's when you have a team that's big enough.
Well, they have to have something to do.
You got to do something.
It's either that or you fire them.
Yeah.
You throw these talented people at this crazy DLC.
Yeah.
Really, you can test them.
Okay, so Pokemon Snap. Snap. So this is, it's 4-player. You put your cards in the center, and when there's a match, it's Snap.
Yeah. You can use it. You can play it using any old Pokemon cards. It's really cheap to buy in if you just have Pokemon cards laying around.
Apparently, Pokemon cards and all trading cards have gone crazy in the States at the moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you want a booster pack? You line up at 1 a.m. on Friday nights.
Because some very rich YouTube people got involved. And now everyone wants
them.
Yeah.
If I get packs, I can start my channel. It'll be great.
There is now in Chelmsford Shopping Centre a vending machine that is full of booster packs.
Great.
Just in the shopping centre.
Awesome.
I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't you just go to a shop?
When I was a kid, there was a vending machine in the corner store up the road from the school that had collectible trading cards with titties.
Oh.
That
was
perfect.
That was a very popular.
Now that's a TCG you can get behind.
The woman's bathroom at the local shopping centre used to have a vending machine that would give you little mice.
Little mice?
It's a tampon joke.
Oh, I get the joke. I get the funny joke.
It wasn't a great joke.
It was okay.
Well, the men's bathroom had one that gave you funny balloons.
Yeah.
There we go. Anywho. Yes, and that
was Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, so
we haven't spoken about it at all yet.
Yeah, so I have not played Pokemon Snap 64.
Phew, because I thought you were going to say I haven't played this one yet.
Yeah.
But it's on your list.
Yeah, no, I have played it.
Lied to
I
me.
haven't played a shitload of it, but I've played a chunk of it. And so I'm coming in with like no nostalgia for this giant. In fact, when I did play the 64 version, I didn't really like it. I sort of thought, what's the point of this thing? Like, I'm just going over the same track over and over and over again. So coming in like without no expectations of finding it particularly enjoyable, because I didn't really like the first one, but I kind of wanted to check it out. I've been liking it.
Yeah.
I think that the playing through the length of each of the tracks seems short enough. I don't mind.
That was a problem with the original too. There were some real long ones.
Yeah, and I'm assuming later on maybe they get longer. But at least I haven't mind going in. Something I think is kind of weird is I understand why when you play the track again, it's gonna repeat the exact same thing that happens because you want to go. Oh, I know duo whatever's gonna come down
spot
here.
Stuff
I'm gonna go back.
runs and then you wait for it because you can't catch everything.
Yeah. But I don't know if I like that. I understand it. I understand, if to being completionist, you want to go, I need to do this thing to get this particular track shot. But it feels very artificial. It's like I no longer feel like it's about looking for the right opportunity to snap a shot. It's like learning what's going to happen. So I know at this point this is going to come down, so I get ready for it. And I don't know, I understand because that's what the loop is built around. But also makes it feel a bit less like...
It's very Outer Wilds.
It is. It's a time loop game.
Maybe they really should have framed it as a time loop game.
Well, you are teleporting. No one's saying you could be going through time as well.
That's true. You could be teleporting back in time.
All we need to do is recontextualize it for James, and now he's on board.
Yeah, I'm done. All right, I like it now.
I think the other thing too is it's gonna feel very samey in the first bits.
Yeah.
But as you get the features that can interact more, I think, because you can affect that loop a bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will be different at that point if you start doing interaction and
thing
poking
in different ways. Yeah,
berries or whatever it is.
But I find that pretty relaxing. Just going through, taking the shots. The feedback on what was wrong or what was good, I like. It does make me. I feel like maybe not so much like the zombie game.
Dead Rising?
Dead Rising, where I never really understood that much about what is a good photo. I feel like Pokemon Snap.
Well, when you got the zombie up dress and it said sexy.
And then so
we have problem video games.
So I like that there's enough feedback there. And what I have been pleasantly surprised by is the loop actually seems pretty engaging.
On the photographics side of it, which of course I'm more interested in, the judgment on what makes a good photo, are there any qualifiers other than you put this Pokemon in the center of the frame?
Yeah. So there's
the scoring is based on the pose, so whatever action the Pokemon's doing. How centered it is one of them.
So bad photography,
but you can also have background.
Background matters, so you can't just chuck a Pokemon in the center and call it a day.
Yeah, because I had a good a well-reviewed shot, where the Pokemon was sort of in the bottom corner, but it had a blue kind of water in the background. So whatever the algorithm was, it wasn't saying it always has to be a Wes Anderson shot. Like it's you can. There seems to be a bit of
I
moving
think
around.
the scoring on centering is more about not having them like at the very edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just need to put in rule of
There's
thirds
extra
and it's
points
fine.
if you manage to get other Pokemon in the shot, and I think there's a points for like wherever the Pokemon's facing you.
Yeah, so they want like if it's from its butt.
But I did get a gold star photo of the back of a Pokemon, so
Well, I mean, depending on who's reviewing it, that was,
there was a pincer.
The review's also a bit weird because like there's a number of stars you get, and then the quality of stars you get.
Yeah.
So
this is a 5 shitty star
Yeah,
Pokemon.
no,
It's like
Yeah.
every Pokemon, so every Pokemon has like a 1-star, a 2-star, a 3-star, and a 4-star photo you can get, which I believe is based around what that Pokemon's doing,
maybe
or like the action it's taking. So like if you just snap a Pikachu it's running around, it's probably the 1-star, but you can get one of it sleeping, which is the 2-star.
Yeah.
But then the stars, based on how many points you get, are graded from bronze
to diamond. I
to
think.
diamond. So it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like this. The number of stars isn't like how well you did. It's which photo
because
it is.
it's interesting because like you can have a situation where you've got a 2-star but no 1-star,
Yeah.
and so now you have to think, how do I go back?
How do I get
What's
the
the-
1
what's
star?
the
What is
worst
the
photo?
1 star
Yeah,
photo?
I just really need to
What's
really
the basic version?
Yeah.
This is just it picking its nose.
Yeah.
It's reading the paper.
And I like that you've got your, what do they call it, the photo decks, I think they call it, that it kind of curates itself. So like you're going through doing your track and you're taking lots of photos, so you'll double up on a lot of what you've already done. And so you might get like, you might have had a gold 1-star, but now you got a diamond 1-star, and you swap it out. So you've always got an opportunity, like you've still got like your basic filler shot, but you still might be lucky enough to get a good one that you can go back and replace
And
it.
a
So
fun little UI note that I really like from a design perspective: if the new shot is worse than the old shot, it automatically selects to keep the old shot, because you can hold down A and blast through all of it without looking, but it'll always keep the highest point.
And I think there's a button to do automatically as well.
Yeah.
This is like, because you can have like, I think you can take like 100 photos a run or something like that. There's a lot, so you might necessarily want to filter through.
You hand
all of
in
them.
one photo per Pokemon.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. But I was a bit worried the algorithm would be a bit simplistic. But it seems like there's enough meat in whatever it's doing to figure it out that I can take interesting shots, and it doesn't say they're bad. Like, okay, no, that's a good shot. Even
Is there a pro photo mode?
there
Well,
kind
yes,
of is.
kind of. The way it works, and it's for like saving separately and for uploading to the online stuff, is any photo you've taken, even if you haven't submitted it to like the game's photo decks, once you've done the run, you can go into it and then you can retake it, which basically just puts you in the like static scene in which you took the photo. And you can fully retake that photo and then do all the effects on top.
So what sort of thing can you like a depth of field?
Yeah,
field,
so like a lot of games
filters.
photo modes have these days.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah. No, it's not the most robust one I've seen.
But I mean,
But for a Pokemon game on a Switch, it's pretty good.
yeah, to have it at all, I was actually pleasantly surprised to
So
hear
like
that
if
there
you've got a
was some
photo, if
accommodation
you've got a
for it.
shot where you think like, oh, this is kind of cool, but I didn't quite get the right like framing or angle, you can just go in and you just fully retake it and then add in, change.
That's kind of cool because it also means if you want to do it, you don't
and
have
then
to
push
like.
it online.
Let's just do the entire level again for me to try and get this with the timing right.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, the only difference is the professional thing isn't part of like
not part of the score,
story
right?
score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Which is
you just
fine.
wanting to take a good photo,
Yeah.
which is what I did hear some people. I heard a few weird things online. One, the amount of shock that this was a full-priced game. Like, oh, a Nintendo Switch released Pokemon game
It's full price.
that's
Wow.
the sequel to a full-priced game, and you thought. And this was the other thing. Then people were just going like, "It's just a photo mode." It's like that's not what a photo mode is.
Yeah.
This is a game that is about taking photos. A photo mode is the thing that they've also included in it. And two, how are you surprised by any of this? All the, even if you don't
At this point, you should know.
yeah, it's worth a full price game. That's on you. It's obviously that Nintendo thinks all these things are worthwhile.
Like, it feels like there's enough meat in there for me so far that it justifies.
There's quite a bit
being,
going on.
Yeah, like I can see that like if you want to go through and complete the photo decks, you can put a lot of time into it. Like you'll be going back and doing the runs again and again and again to try and get them all. Like it seems like there's a lot there. So yeah, like I've found that I've been more engaged with the loop than I thought I would be, and I think it's because everything that got wrapped around the photos, the feedback's there. Like I can see the path of progression pretty well. I can see it's going to unlock things. Like I haven't even unlocked the food, whatever, to throw at them yet.
Did either of you buy it physically?
No, I used a eShop voucher.
How am I supposed to borrow it? I don't want to buy this, but I am interested.
What is this physical game? It's 2021.
Yeah, I had a friend yesterday going, "Oh, we really want to try that Bowser's Fury game." I'm like, "It's in the Switch."
To give you my Switch to play it.
I had nephews. Don't listen to this. It was one of my nephew's birthdays, and they had let's see if I can find like a Switch game for them. I'm like, the Blob's like $28. I'm like, I'll give him the Blob. I like the Blob.
Yeah,
it's a
solid choice.
It's a solid game. I'm sure the port's fine. It's Brisbane. Oh, not Brisbane, but Australian studio at some point.
I think so.
I don't think it could have been Brisbane. I don't remember where they're based, so who knows? But then I was like, okay, wait. EB has like a sale, which is buy one get one free. I'm like, and what else is there?
So you got 2 copies of the Mario 3D trilogy?
No, Ukulele and the Impossible Lair.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But that was $34. I'm like, well, I'm not going to pay $34 to get a $28 game for free.
That'd be a bad consumer choice.
I'll have to find another game that say, so I found The Blob 2. Sweet, now you're being a crowd. So one of them was this present, and the other one's going to be next present.
Once he's played through, give him the sequel.
Yeah. Bloody kids. Give them a video game. How do I play? I'm like, you play it and you find out.
Press the buttons.
It's like, what do I do in this game? It's like, you're in the tutorial. It's teaching you at the moment. What's wrong with you children? You're like when if you got anyone in your family that you sit down to watch a movie with, and they're like, who's that guy? I've literally been watching the film
same amount of movie.
as long as you have. They're a new character. They've got a big twirly mustache and they're rubbing their hands together. I bet they're a bad guy. Or a magician. Or a bad magician. We'll find out soon. At the same time. Because we are watching the same movie.
Stop asking questions.
Anyway. Good movies. Okay, let's do some random news. Okay. First up here, we've got Respawn is the first video game studio to win an Oscar.
Yeah.
Kind of technically, yes, they did. So for Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, I think it was the subtitle. It was the VR only game that was co-produced by Oculus last year. Inside Medal of Honor, I think there's actually a tradition of putting a bit of documentary material in there, and so they commissioned a documentary called Colette or Cosette. One or two, I should have looked that up. But it won Best Short Documentary at the Academy Awards this year.
I bet they were not expecting that.
I don't know. It actually did have a bit of buzz beforehand.
Okay.
I know a few people weren't expecting it because they hadn't got around to writing news stories about it and thought it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
And then they won and like, oh
no.
shit.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's available online. I think The Guardian's hosting it at the moment. It's a short documentary. It's about French resistance fighter. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's actually a little bit not what you normally expect.
Okay.
It's a bit of a subject that isn't really on board on making the documentary, which is so. All right. Yeah, so that's
so it's free to go watch.
Yeah. It's free. It's in the game, but you can also just go watch it online. They're not holding short documentaries behind a paywall. It's like, you want to watch it? Fuck yes, come,
please watch it.
Oh god. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I think Vince got a shout out during it. They did not say Respawn wins. They said the filmmakers won. Yeah. But yes. Then we have some Olympics news, which I have not read many of the details on because I do not care. But the interesting is they're doing sort of a side thing where they're doing digital games. So they are putting esports on the Olympics.
I see. I thought you talked about there going to be like some kind of streaming thing because no one will be able to go to the Olympics.
I thought he was about to mention the Brisbane stuff, but that's fine.
Oh, we'll get onto that. I don't know the Brisbane stuff. Us getting the Olympics.
Yeah, and the latest developments of that.
Sam's got some hot goss.
He's got some inside scoop on here.
Inside, it's just knowledge.
It's Cross River Rail. It's saving it all.
It's not quiet.
So what games are they including?
Gran Turismo.
Okay,
that makes
part
sense.
Of it.
Yeah,
because they're actually, it's not so esportsy. It's more on simulation stuff.
So people can be in the whole kind of like rig,
full rig.
Yeah, I don't know about the rig wise, but the other two titles involved weren't really things that I knew about. I actually could probably just check them quickly. You can do this too at home.
Is normal racing? Normal racing's not.
No.
So virtual racing has become a really big Olympic sport.
Well, I wonder if it's because it was popularized because during COVID people had to. It was crazy when they were doing that. Like, because I remember like you'd have it in the background on the TV, and I'd honestly think it was just racing happening because it's like until you actually look at it a bit closer
Like,
and go,
wait a second,
hold
this
on,
is a video
that's
game.
a video game.
What the hell, man?
What? Yeah. But it's cool. It's cool to see esports make their way in there. So it's that and
No, I don't think so at all.
Fortnite, right?
That's because Paul hates esports.
I do hate esports, and I also hate professional sports. Although Olympics
that's fair.
technically is not supposed to be professional sports.
No.
So the thing that's always utterly confusing about the concept of involving the esports, something like the Olympics, is that somebody owns a game.
Yes.
You don't go and license Javelin from
Sure.
Activision.
Yeah.
They don't do a patch that nerfs somebody's
EA
fucking-
Sports doesn't actually own sports.
Yeah, exactly. The Olympic Virtual Series, because it will feature virtual baseball, cycling, rowing, sailing, and motorsport.
Yeah, so it is just the
okay.
virtual Olympics.
All right. Okay. So it's not like Dota. So
It's not actual games.
Yeah.
It's just
It's all simulation stuff.
yeah.
I don't.
Which is still
the
pretty
other
interesting.
titles were things
Which
that
I
they
think
used, but yeah, I don't remember
it's
the
like,
story.
I mean, that does sort of mean that yes, technically you'd be playing Forza, but really they're doing motorsports. And if there was another product that was a better simulation, so it's less like
Yes,
it's less
It's
like
not
LOL
specific to
or
the
something.
game. It's
Yeah, or StarCraft 2 or something. Like it is a bit more of a generic thing. Which, but yeah, so
so
not
I
quite as
think-
much ownership going
give
on.
it
Yeah.
5 years.
I think all those other things, with the exception of I don't know how they're doing the baseball. It could be a few. I mean, it could be a batting net with a thing. I don't know.
MLB's coming out on
Yeah, but
Xbox?
but that's you don't
Yeah,
play
that's
virtual.
management,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
no.
don't play.
They're not holding a controller, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
yes.
you can do rowing and cycling and everything with just the same way you do it, but in a
In a
with a
machine.
simulation.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
so-
AR game
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah,
kind
to a
of.
degree.
Which I
Yeah.
really feel they should take the opportunity to jazz up and like throw in some power ups. And,
Yeah.
chucking
Gamify
a,
it.
yeah.
chucking a kraken.
Yeah, like you know, if you're gonna
There's
make
a javelin,
it,
have like things you can hit.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna like go digital, why not? You know, yeah, really go digital.
Yeah. What if you just
Get loot boxes.
what if just in the physical javelin they just had drones flying around with
It's
scores
just, if you
attached to
hit them, you get extra
Oh
points.
yeah, because the drones are probably pretty expensive.
Drones with like targets hanging off them.
Yeah, but double
But if you
points
hit the
take out
drone, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be good. Okay, very brief. Xbox Live Gold is no longer required to play free-to-play games. They've been, I think they're the last past the post on that one. But good. Whatever.
Yeah. Isn't Xbox Live in a bit of a weird place? Like, because they've got like the games for gold,
They
but
tried to double the price.
yeah,
And they basically just did it because they were like, we don't actually want anyone subscribing to this. We want you all
on Game Pass.
on Game Pass.
Because Game Pass includes gold, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I find it hard to imagine a world of someone that just wants that, but also that could just be the person that just plays COD
Yeah, why do
and
they
Madden
want,
or
yeah.
whatever. They don't need any of the stuff.
Probably
They don't-
target audience for it.
Yeah. So I think when they were like, yeah, we're going to double the price, it was like, there is no justification for this. It must be such a niche of your player base. You're just pissing them off. So
Yeah.
that's when they backed off the whole thing anyway. This is a weird thing. Okay, so Lord of the Rings Online got cancelled.
The not Lord of the Rings Online.
The new Lord of the
new
Rings.
Lord of the Rings
not,
to be
Yeah,
was
yeah,
cancelled.
because there is a Lord of the Rings Online you can play.
which
'cause
is a good MMO. Like I played it a number of years ago.
you're the
and-
only person I've heard
Yeah.
to say that. But here's the difference. Everyone else just sort of said, like, either it's bad or what?
James is the only person I've heard say I've played it.
Yeah. Well, that was because I had quite a few people around me that were upset. I was like, "Why have you played the existing one?" And they just sort of look at me with slow blinking faces.
There's an existing one.
No,
What?
I don't know. I think it's worth. I mean, it's free to play, so you can just go check it out.
Yeah.
But like, I played quite a bit of it. Played it with Cheryl, and it's because it's not based off the movie.
It's just the
world.
world.
The world of Lord of the Rings, which I kind of liked. Like, it's got a bit of a different style to it than you get out of the kind of Peter Jackson Lotro. Not O at the end.
It's Lottery.
Lot.
Lord of the Rings is online.
Universe. But yeah, okay. I mean,
PJ Lotro.
PJ. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's the Amazon one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, Amazon are never going to release a game.
No.
No, of
I
course.
feel like
never
all
let
they're going to
anything
do is
come out.
start making games and
Yeah.
then stop making them.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. That's the loop they're in.
Well, at least developers are being paid.
Yeah. Maybe that's all it's for.
Yeah, just
So it's like, look, we'll give you a 6-month contract to start a game, but then we'll end it.
but you get paid for 6 months.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to skill up and take those skills to
Yeah.
another studio.
It's basically just training.
Yeah.
You just don't ever, you never have shipped games.
Oh, my Reddit search is shit, as it always is. I was just going to check because the next line was just E3 is a coming, but I wrote that a while ago and I forgot
what it was.
Because it's just basically
Sounds like E3 is a coming.
Everyone's signing up for E3 and saying we actually are going to be there. We are coming now. It's not just going to be a wasteland. It's been backed by Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft. Although I think Konami even did an update the other day, so maybe they weren't going to make it. Oh, yep. 5 hours ago.
So what?
Due to timing, we will not be present at E3 this year. Take-Two, Warner Brothers, and Koch Media, of course. Square Enix is coming. So what will this be?
It's a digital thing?
Yeah, it's all digital.
Oh, okay.
So the difference with E3 this year is that it's a 3-day event, and that 3 days goes over the weekend, which is basically the conferences.
So we're camping out here?
Yeah. We're all free to do our normal thing, actually. It should be great.
All weekend.
You must be happy about this.
Just weekend at Paul's.
Well, it is Paul's thing, yeah.
You'd like it when your things are condensed into one
because the thing that
exciting time.
The thing with E3 is that E3 itself always began after most people were done with E3. Because the actual show floor didn't really matter to most of us, and that opens after all the conferences are done. So this is just basically replacing that. So yeah, we'll see what the actual lineup is, and we got that, and we got Summer Game Fest, and hopefully we'll see something good. Yeah. Maybe Microsoft will show some games.
There'll be at least one thing from someone, surely.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Remember when Microsoft used to release games?
Well, they're buying people that release games now.
Yeah,
but they're buying Bethesda. So.
I think someone made the point that technically Sony released a game on the Xbox Series X before Microsoft did, which is a wild thing. And of course, Microsoft is releasing. I wonder if Microsoft will release Deathloop on PS5 before they release a game on Series X. What a strange and funny world we live in. Because, there have been some games that have been like co-produced by Microsoft and everything, but they haven't technically been released as them as publishers. So at the moment, I don't think there's anything that's an exception. But I've been wrong before. It also doesn't matter. It's just funny. So E3, it's going to happen. What is the date? Doesn't really, it's June? Yeah, I think it's June. Whenever. Doesn't matter. Let's keep going. There was a really weird story about Days Gone. Jason Schreier put out it. Blew the internet away apart for like a week, and then everyone seems to have moved on from it now. So I don't know if either of you read the story or were the breakdown? No. Okay, so Jason Schreier basically went out, and the takeaway from this article was that Sony is afraid of taking risks, and they're only investing in like big, safe AAA things. Returnal came out yesterday, by the way. And the background for this was that Sony would not back a Days Gone 2.
I didn't think the first one did particularly well.
It did. It made money,
but I didn't like. It didn't set the world on fire.
No, it did fine.
Yeah,
and it didn't do well critically. And now there's a petition with, I think, 70,000 signatures. I'm like,
people really do like to just ape into signing things.
Yeah, it's like if there was a promise that you'd actually buy it full price at the end, which is the Days Gone creator at the end of all this sort of said, if you want sequels to game, make sure you buy them full price. And that made people angry too. I'm like, well, he's technically right.
That's how it works.
Yeah. But then also another studio that was sort of a support studio, they were trying to get a project off the ground. So they, of course, they thought the safest bet to get Sony to be on board was, of course, a remake of The Last of Us.
The one that's crying out for a remake.
Yes, and that allegedly has been going ahead.
That's so strange.
And now that The Last of Us 2 has been completed, is now an internal Naughty Dog project. So they didn't give this fresh new team their fresh new idea, which was a remaster of The Last of Us.
What are they doing to it?
Well, allegedly they're just basically bringing it into the same technology as Last of Us 2. So there will be some gameplay changes to just expand it, but otherwise it'll be that. And I did hear someone talking about it where it did kind of make sense where at the moment, because of Naughty Dog's structure, while they're gearing up for their next project, there is a lot of, what's the term when you got basically hands not working? Just like talent waste, talent drain. It's not talent drain. It's, anyway, there are a bunch of people at Naughty Dog that aren't working that don't have anything full-time to do on the new project yet, but bringing in a project they've already made that already has a scope and just updating it is something that people can you kind of just hand it to them and they can do it. It's more keeping people busy.
That people will buy it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I mean, it's probably not Well, who knows, actually. Sometimes these things do surprisingly well, because at the moment, you can play a pretty fucking good looking version of The Last of Us on PS5.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, who's crying out for this? But it kind of is just keeping people busy as well. Yeah. So because Sony didn't help a new team make Last of Us Remake and didn't help a team make another zombie open world game, they're risk adverse.
They're risk adverse because they're not making a lot of zombie games.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, they are making one of them. Yeah, I didn't really get his takeaway in that. And yes, for their full-blown, like for what they're really, really investing in, there are story-based, third-person games on the whole. That is what they primarily do. But they sort of had the weird thing of closing Japan's studio, but that was always a weird sort of support thing anyway, because the one studio that has been making games recently is that made why am I our funny robot, a little Sony robot man. He's
Astrobot,
the Astrobot studio, and they have expanded. So it's like, okay, because they've been taken from because their studio was all sort of tech. They designed stuff and they worked with Sony and but then they sort of made some fun games on the side of here's how we use the tech. And those games have done really well. Yeah. So they've geared up to be a full studio, and all these little support things have sort of... So it's really just restructuring and stuff. And as I say, they backed Returnal, Housemarque's new game, which just came out, which is... I mean, it is a third-person action game.
It's a bit of a stretch of a... it's definitely not a risk-adverse game.
No, it is...
It's a roguelike.
Yeah, it's a...
Bullet hell.
It's a AAA roguelike.
Bullet hell, yeah. And as soon as you do a 3D Bullet Hell, they're hard. They don't. There's a reason Bullet Hell games are top down. Because I've only seen a tiny bit of it. I haven't even watched any trailers or anything for it. I've just seen the first 10 minutes of it.
Well, it's also a story-based horror game. It's a sci-fi horror third-person roguelike with bullet hell elements.
There's a lot of stuff in there.
I think I'd like it, but I was looking at it thinking I don't really have the time to play it.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I buy it, I just won't play it. It looks good though.
Yeah. I hear good things. I do hear favourable comparisons to Hades.
Which is solid.
Yes.
You're saying that you like Hades.
Yeah.
You're a bit of a fan.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Small fan.
So on Nintendo, which we weren't, Nintendo had Nintendo Indie World to show off indie games coming up. And instead of burying the lead, I'm going to lead with the lead. There were two major games that came out of this for me. The first being Olli World. So Olli 1 and Olli 2. Well, I guess it was Olli and Olli 2, because you don't normally put a 1 at the end of a game. Side-scrolling skateboarding game, trick-based, and I kind of liked the first two games, but because it became basically just a game about doing lots of patterns with your thumb really, really quickly and trying to get scores up. I'm not big on score attack, so I sort of would play, and then I just get a bit bored of it. So Olli World is a world, and there are characters and things to explore, and it's still side-scrolling, but it seems like for people like me that want just just a little bit more variety and don't want to just be focused on score the whole time, that might be for me. And they've got a more cartoony art style to it, which I don't know if I prefer.
Because it was kind of like a silhouette style, wasn't it?
No, it was very pixely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not silhouette, but just an old school pixel thing. Maybe like a hyped up California games.
Oh, okay.
But then the big one, which they ended with, which you put these two together because it's Olli, Oxenfree. So they announced, shockingly to me, Oxenfree 2. Because I guess when you have a huge runaway hit and then you make a sequel another game that doesn't land, you go back to the first thing you did.
No, that's what they get for taking.
What worked.
That's what they get for taking risks.
How dare
them. But I'm cool with that.
Start a petition.
I think Oxenfree is bloody risk adverse. Oh god,
whatever they're called.
I can't remember the company's name anymore. But I loved Oxenfree.
Yeah, Oxenfree was fantastic.
And more of that will be good. And whilst the story of Oxenfree kind of wrapped up in there, I think there's just plenty you can do in that universe. It's a new main character at least. So if you're not aware of Oxenfree, side-scrolling adventure game, but with a real focus on naturalistic dialogue. You would just chat while you walked around this spooky island, finding out about some horrors and such. And then it had a real, almost Kojima-esque meta ending, which was great. Fuck. The first time that shit started happening to me, I was like, oh my god! Oh, man. I need a spoiler cast for that one day. Something where I just get to openly talk about it.
I'm curious to see what they do with the next one.
It makes me wonder what platform I want to play on. Because platform actually did matter a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Bunch of other games. I'm just going to quickly run through some that sort of jumped. There was a game called Never Yield, which was like a free running game. There's a demo that came out, and I was like, I'll get it. I'll just see if it can set itself aside from the, it's a genre that we've had quite a lot of over the last decade or so, and it's weird.
Yeah,
it's just like you just push a button to either jump or slide, or I think the other one's like just like parkour over a thing in front of you, just straddle.
Dedicated parkour button.
Yeah, but and it took me a while to actually get in. They like to have different looking obstacles, so the only real way you can tell which button will get through them is the color that sort of comes up around them, and it auto slows down before it because it's hard to read because it's not just like box. Jump. It's like, here's a bunch of falling barrels. I'm like, do I slide? Do I jump? And I actually hate it. I was like, isn't the whole point of that?
It's no bit trip runner.
Well, exactly. I mean, bit trip's simple, but that's the whole point. It's a music game. And I mean, this is still a big music focus as well, but because they have the slowdown and everything, it doesn't feel like the music is that important. Like, ostensibly, this genre is normally a rhythm game. Even Rayman. Whilst it's not as strict as games like this, it's, if you're playing it properly, you're playing on a beat. And this was just like, I see you wanted to make it look slightly better, and that still doesn't mean it looks great. But yeah, it actually made it less playable. I might give it another go at some point, but yeah, it didn't grab me first up. Annapurna had 2 games. Last Stop, which we've seen before, it's just like
it's a train one, isn't it?
No, there are trains involved. It's more about 3 people's stories intersecting in London. It's like very narrative based. And then something called Hindsight, which I know nothing about how it plays, but it's like a bunch of like frozen scenes you're exploring throughout time. And I'm like,
sounds cool.
This sounds like a playing of time. I just love the time freeze genre.
Well, that's what the photo mode in Snap is.
Exactly. The Longing got announced, which Sam's been playing. We'll come scoop back around to that one. There Is No Game came to Switch.
That's the new one. The new one, Wrong Dimension, I think. Yeah.
Which I sort of like. I do want to play because I hear good things, but I also hear the bad things about it, and they sound fixable. And I want them to fix them.
It's a bit of a mixed bag, but it is worth playing. Yeah. I think you'd enjoy it.
Shredder's Revenge, Crazy Tales. Getsu Fuumaden, which is...
What a word.
Is a new game in a series that was on the NES. And I posted this trailer on Zed Games with, do you remember Getsu Fuumaden? Because I don't. But it's really beautiful looking, like Oni, sort of Japanese demons with sort of a Japanese calligraphic style to the whole thing and everything. It's a really beautiful looking game, bit Metroidvania-ish. Like, I like all these things. I just don't know what the source material is. I'm sorry. I'm a heathen, I guess. Kiwi's coming. Good old Kiwi. Skipping a few. I was happy to see Weaving Tides is on its way to the Switch. That's that like isometric Zelda-like where you play a person on a magic carpet
on a tapestry,
on a tapestry world, and you actually have to like weave in and out of the tapestry to attack people and solve puzzles and everything. I'm like,
it seems so complicated.
Yeah, it plays very well.
Like looking at it, I'm like, this looks complex.
It's not. It's not because I played the demo a year and a half or maybe even more ago now. And it was like, whilst not super polished at that point, which it's a game in development. It was still fun, and the whole idea of like, oh look, there's someone going past.
It's very unique.
we can weave them so they're flat on the ground, and then you can just smack them. It's great.
While we're kind of on the topic of magic carpets, I learned a new term the other day.
Oh yes,
Orientalism.
Oh yeah,
it came up because I've been watching board game reviews, and kind of like Arabian Nights is a pretty popular theme.
Yes,
in board games, and I didn't realize that one of my favorite themes, which is that Arabian Nights thing, is a little bit offensive. Just a little bit. Because it's painting that era and that civilization as like this otherworldly thing, when really it had the same kind of complexity as Europe. Like
it's along the lines of like using the word exotic.
Yeah. But it was just this moment I had of like, oh, I really like that theme, but it's a bit problematic. Oh.
Look, you can like things that are
Just
problematic.
pretend it's a fantasy genre world
yeah.
and not a real world, and then it's still
And
kind of problematic,
but I don't have to feel as bad
but
about
it's
it.
slightly detached.
You don't have to feel bad. You just have to be aware.
You just have to
of it.
acknowledge it.
Yeah,
Accept it.
yeah.
And not do it in like a bad, like, don't be a shithead about it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
I
we'll
really,
find a
I
nice
really
middle
like
ground.
Arabian Nights stuff.
Hey, and the thing is, whilst but Arabian Nights is also when we're using that term, we're literally referring to a fiction. There.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Which I'll put in the same realm as like Conan or something like that.
Yeah. So you
I
can.
guess Orientalism is more the start of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I think there's a middle ground.
Yeah.
Also, can you say the words or think of the words Arabian Nights without just starting the song in Aladdin in your head?
No, you can't.
It's impossible.
Where a certain age
It can't be done. It's the same way I can't hear the words "it's the" without continuing the bare necessities. And those are two very common words.
Or I can't think of the game Carrion without going Carry on my wayward son. I got to do that. Someone on Z Games, Toby, reviewed Carrion the other day, and I got to talk about that again. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Carry On is super common. It's not unique to that song, but still,
But it is the song.
it is the one song that always comes to my head. Here's the one that really surprised me. One, also because this was an indie game focused thing. They had a brief trailer for House of the Dead remake.
Yeah.
Now I have two questions. One, how's this an indie game? Two,
Why?
oh, not even why.
Is so this is using the Switch as a pointer? Are we going
That's
back
what we don't know yet.
I'm assuming it's gone
We've
back
got
to
no
the kind
idea.
of Wiimote kind of like...
No idea.
Yeah, it's not.
Because
Some of the trailer felt like it was just using analog sticks.
not too many games have used the old kind of like Wiimote kind of style
The pointer
pointing.
style, yeah. Can I tap? Can I tap to shoot?
Sounds a bit too easy.
Yeah, very much so. Like, I love light gun games, and now that genre has finally started working again because of VR. Because everyone keeps trying to bring back the guns, and it seems like a very difficult problem to solve.
Where is Namco? And why aren't they making Point Blank VR?
Look,
oh my god, I would be
we
so
may have
down.
had conversations.
We have.
Trickshot may have had conversations about that. like, what do we do next? Why is there no Point Blank VR?
Why?
Good question.
It seems, and I don't want to like just sound like very dismissive of game development. It seems easy.
no. You're not wrong. Especially it's VR.
Point and shoot.
You can have bright, colourful things, stationary. You don't have to worry about nausea. You can
No
have, like,
realism.
it's a perfect fit for VR.
It's a
it'll
shoot.
run on the
It is
Quest.
the literal definition of a shooting gallery.
Yeah, I don't know why no one's done this.
Yeah. Shoot the apple. You have one shot.
Make the
Done.
guns look like the old school.
Yeah,
The pink and
Yep,
blue and
yeah,
white guns.
Mm-hmm.
Instant seller.
You just gotta you've just got to do something to make sure you can get like a haptic kick in it.
Yeah.
because that's
Oh,
very
yeah, that's
important for
important
Point
bit.
Blank. Yeah,
I played it in
So-
Neverworld once while the gun was broken. And
it just feels
couldn't
wrong.
do
It
it.
feels wrong. Yeah. So, but that when it comes to wanting to do TV stuff, it's like pointers work, but again, not great. And there's all these texts going, and they're all like, "Oh, we put a camera in the gun," and then it's just. And as soon as you do that, I immediately just go, and it seems to be the problem with almost all of them is like, you need a refresh rate in that camera
Yeah.
that's fast enough to work as fast as your hand moves.
Light gun tech was so simple.
So it was so similar. Light guns were on the NES.
Yeah.
I
And
know,
now
it's madness, isn't it?
simple.
yeah,
Simplest tech.
here we are, 40 years later? And we're like, shit, how are we going to make this work?
Stupid modern TVs.
Oh my god, yes. I would love some good light gun games. And the thing is, outside of VR, I still would prefer it because it is light gun games are normally good social games as well. But like we played on the Wii, like we played our it wasn't Dynamite Cop because that's a beat 'em up, but it was Ghost Squad. Ghost Squad, I remember playing. I think there was one other. Oh, and Dead Space Extraction.
Oh shit, I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
about
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good. And I'm the only person in the world that liked what Dragon's Quest swords.
that. Oh, I forgot about that
Yeah,
one too.
that was one where you're on a thing, but you had to swing your sword around. Yeah, not quite a light gun game, but of a similar genre. But I thought it was cool. Anyway, so House of the Dead remake's coming to Switch, and it'll probably play fine, but not great.
Yeah, that's
I guess.
yeah.
Unless it all works with unless you could play it by putting it in that labo duck and looking up its ass and shooting that way. I mean, actually, you'd have a gun attachment, but I prefer to look up that bird's ass. I've got 2 Labo kits downstairs, and I feel they will remain unopened until Henry's like 5. And then they're like, time to shoot up a duck's ass. Good stuff. Yeah. Oh, and Fez came. Sure. It was released, and I'm like, there's Fez. I'll push that buy button. I'm like, wait, why am I pushing the buy button? I don't need Fez again. And I didn't. See, I resisted it.
I looked and I went, oh, Fez, I should go play that again. I went and booted it up, and there's a bug on it that I can't resolve.
Oh.
Or if I'm using a controller, which is the thing I want to do when I play Fez, the jump is half as high.
Oh.
So you cannot even get out of the first area.
That's very strange.
Hit spacebar, full jump. Hit A, half jump.
Weird.
I was like,
you're not doing a half hold?
No, I can just hold it down and it half jumps. And I'm like, I can't resolve this. I can't find anyone else who's got this problem.
The down is the first half, the up is the second half of the jump. So you got to time.
You can never do a half A press Fez run.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I just closed it and uninstalled it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I won't play Fez.
I might
what is old mate Phil Fish doing these days?
Not making video games.
He noped out pretty
very
hard,
much quitting the industry.
Yeah. I think Phil Fish made the right call.
Yeah. I
am done.
I used to have him followed on Twitter, and then I did a big Twitter clean years ago and removed him.
Can't you not follow him now?
Well, yeah. Then he locked his account down. So
you can't find out.
I can't see what Phil Fish is up to.
Could have known.
Yeah. That was such a weird time for indie games. It was like. Now we look at it like there's indie games everywhere, but like at that particular point in time, it was like they were just kind of like just getting.
They just
started.
got these few sort of rock star ones.
Yeah, it's a weird time.
They got all of the stress and everything on them.
Yeah, you could just be a real dick and an indie game maker now. No one really is going to care.
Well, you could be a dick back then.
Well, you can be a dick anytime you want, but
then
people are real mean about it.
Yeah, then your career is shattered.
I do like that his comments on the Japanese industry kind of are, especially retrospectively, seen as quite accurate. It's like, yeah, this was quite a down period for Japanese development. But anyway, but speaking of, what was this going to tie into?
Was that Turnip game on the Switch thing, or am I thinking of a different thing?
The
tax evasion.
So yeah, Turnip tax evasion.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't on the indie world, but it did come out. But yes, I might go play Fez on my PS Vita.
Good choice.
Which now, since our last discussion, the store will not be closing. Neither will the PS3 store, but the PSP store will be. But also, shocking new developments. Well, when this all began, they also closed down the web portal that you could go to access the stores on your browser. So
you can only do it through the hardware?
Yes. So the internet came along and said, nah, fuck that, and brought the old store back with a plug-in to Firefox. Because it turns out they just kind of deleted the HTML.
Yeah, and
you can still access the API.
Front end, but the API has to exist for the hardware to use it.
No one's going to go into the server code
it's gonna be the same,
and get rid of all the
same API.
endpoints. And
the hardware's going to be using it.
And the thing is, it's still kind of a better store than the current store accessing PS5 store. Like, yeah, I'm just going to lose the old store, actually.
That's what happened to the eShop for a while. Like I think in the US now they've got an official one, but someone figured out the endpoint that the Switch uses to purchase games and just built a front end.
Right? Why not?
And then Nintendo put out a proper, like their normal one for the US only.
Yeah. What if somebody made an eShop store that had a shopping cart?
Madness.
Insane.
Because
you know I can buy more than one thing at one time in one purchase.
Yeah. Yeah,
but how will I use my small amount of gold points on every single purchase?
Because you blow them all on the one big one. And then, I do love gold points because quite often they do just get me like, this game looks stupid. $1? I got
there is zero reason to not immediately use them every time.
Because they don't change in value.
No.
You get the same amount on every purchase.
They may just expire at some point because I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo did that. So
there's no reason to bank them.
For a while, I wasn't using them. And
sometimes I like to bank them just for the sheer joy of it.
and I had like about $50 worth or so. Because I think it's like 10%. I think
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
And if you like any pre-orders or new releases, often have like bonuses.
Double and yeah. But now I'm just
They've got you.
Immediately, I'm just
both of you are like, oh, it's pretty good value. Yeah, it's like, no, it's just a scam.
It's just a discount that forces me to make another purchase.
Yes, that's exactly what
it's like. It's giving gift cards.
The future Sam. Well, if you are regularly going to buy in the store, there's no reason not to use it.
I don't think I'm ever going to run out of Switch games to buy until they stop them.
You're always getting 10% off.
Yeah.
the only thing is you'll fall behind on, like, you'll only ever be ripped off by not using it for the next game. Yeah. So the more you use it, like, there's a pretty diminishing returns. That's how they get you.
Yeah. That's why I need the shopping cart, because I need to make multiple purchases.
all it means is the very last game you buy, you bought it full price.
Yes, yeah. Otherwise, every single one you got 10% off.
Yeah.
So.
It's pretty good.
Okay. Oculus time. Or should we talk about a game first? Let's talk about Oculus.
We'll go back to
what?
Longing.
Because it was in the Switch.
Yeah.
Well, it's too late now. We've said the word Oculus.
Oh, fine. All right. Go on.
Oculus had their very first showcase.
Yep.
Yay! And they had shown a bit of it a few days earlier of a game called Resident Evil 4 for the Oculus Quest 2. So I had already gone into this with the attitude of fuck you, Oculus and Facebook. So they showed more of Resident Evil 4, which is exclusive to the Oculus Quest 2. So Quest 1 users, a device that's been out for not 2 years yet, but soon it will be 2 years, is not getting a 16-year-old game.
Which looks like it'll run just fine. And
does run on phones.
It does run on phones and inevitably will be cracked after about an hour.
Now,
and running on that Quest 1.
Resident Evil 4, they have actually changed a bunch of stuff in it. It looks like kind of cool game, actually. You can type on the typewriter when you save. I don't know what that does.
Why not?
Does it name your save? That would be good.
It might just do that.
Name the save file.
Yeah, a lot of interactions. It looks like they've actually done quite a lot of work to it, but it still looks like Resident Evil 4, which is it's a fine-looking game, and it's still effective, but it doesn't look like something that can't run on 2-year-old hardware.
Yeah.
So that made me angry, especially when they showed other games later, such as Wraith, the Oblivion, which looks better than it and is on the Quest. Because even if it doesn't look as nice as it does in Quest 2, you can just, there's a thing in development on electronic devices where you can sometimes have, like, multiple platforms you're aiming for, and maybe they scale slightly differently. It's a wild new idea, I know. We couldn't possibly do such a thing, but Wraith the Oblivion has done it. And Wraith the Oblivion is a horror game where you play a Wraith, and it's based in the what's the universe? The universe.
Do I?
Oh yeah, werewolf. It's the werewolf.
World of Darkness.
World of Darkness. Yeah, it's a World of Darkness thing.
I don't know that universe.
Well, out of all of us, you're the most.
I've played werewolf.
You're the most. I did. I saw a few people we know talking about it, and I know nothing of this. And they're like, game based on Wraith. I've tried playing the tabletop multiple times, but it doesn't really make any sense that all these different, like, ghostly spirit and monster would be interacting to do this, because it's a bit of a mystery solving thing. But a video game, yeah, that actually works. It's like shitty, like, not great tabletop, but a good universe for that. Yeah, so that's out. Also, they announced Carve Snowboarding. And other than that, it was mostly updates and stuff. Lone Echo 2's coming out, but that's only, like, PC based. It's too fancy to run on the headsets. Pistol Whip's got an update. I Expect You to Die 2's coming. The Climb 2 had a bunch of updates I thought were really interesting. One was just they're adding a bunch of levels that are sort of like those Mario levels where it's just geometric shapes you're jumping around. And that's cool. It's like, we'll just strip it back to its most basics. So Climb's a game where you're climbing things. If you are... It's just called climbing. I don't know any other word for it.
And it makes me feel very ill.
Yeah, but then they added something that I'm very interested in trying, which is a beat mode. So
just to climb on the beat.
Yeah, it's
a rhythm game now.
They made it a rhythm game. You've got the handholds appear on the beat, and you've got to move with it. I'm like, I don't know if this will be good or bad.
Pretend you're in a rock climbing montage.
Yeah. Rock climbing was actually the word I was looking for. It's the word
but
rock.
It's still climb.
It's still climb. Yeah, it's still climb. There's nothing.
You have to ascend things.
But I was like, oh, I like a beat game. So this will win me over. But I'm going to try it on James's first because he does say he makes him sick.
It makes me very ill. It's one of those games that even thinking about makes me feel ill. Like when I tried to play that sport game.
Which sport game?
The one where
the Echo Arena.
Yes,
which is the spin-off of Lone Echo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that did not sit well with old Jamesy.
God, I can't remember. I was playing a VR game that came out a few weeks ago, which is it's sort of like an arena-based shooting gallery thing, except you're a Spider-Man. And it's all floating tether points, and you're shooting out multiple grappling hooks and shooting.
Hard, like you just vom immediately for me.
Not, I have historically not been a particularly good VR legs, but I'm fine with it. I'm like
You're
zooming
the weird
around.
one.
Yeah, but I do want to see how James reacts.
There's another one that's like you play the monkeys or something.
Oh,
yeah,
amongst trees.
Yeah, that one also.
Gorilla Chase or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want us all to do that one day. All start at exactly the same time.
And see who's out
just see who
first.
drops.
Because after about a minute, I'll be gone.
Even watching the trailers make me
Yeah.
feel nauseous. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. What I think the only other thing I didn't bring up here so Star Wars Pinball. So it's VR Pinball. Yes. And I've never seen so many things tacked onto a game to try and justify its existence as like
a VR game.
Yeah, it's look, you've got this whole bedroom you can set up.
It's just a pinball machine in a room, basically. Isn't it?
You could bring Chewbacca in, and you could do this. Like, who gives a shit about any of these?
It seems very much like the first VR games that ever happened, where no one really knew what to do.
Yeah. And they're just
we're just
doubling
gonna
down.
build a space that's in the real world and make it VR.
I tell you the only option I want in a VR pinball game, and that's to map the table to a piece of wood or something, or the end of a table in the real world, so I can actually hit the sides of the table.
You know what you can do if you've got that set up? Buy a screen and a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah,
and then you just have a pinball machine.
But all I need is a piece of wood for that. I still need the big screen and everything. The virtual pinball machines are pretty good, but yeah, I still need. Those still require the space of a pinball machine.
Yeah.
Well, I could technically play VR pinball
forever.
But I just get pinball games on the Switch and play it in Tate mode.
Yeah.
It's very
fancy Tate.
I'm just going to play my Epic Pinball.
Yeah.
Play Android.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we also had the Oculus update that came out, the 28 update.
Is it all out now?
Yep, it's all out. Update. Cool. So that added, the big thing that added was AirLink, which is their kind of virtual desktop kind of replacement / competitor.
You can connect to your PC without anything now.
Yeah. They also added a keyboard visualization or something. Like if you bring in a keyboard, a Bluetooth keyboard, it'll like visualize it. Put it
in real space. I thought didn't they have a full desk? Like you can put a desk in your virtual space.
They're kind of going for this kind of a virtual office thing. They're kind of starting to work towards, but all like experimental features. I had a quick test.
120 hertz on
and 120 hertz.
PS2, yeah.
Which I didn't. I mean, I turned it on, but I don't know if it's doing anything.
They don't know if much supports it yet.
Yeah. I had to go at AirLink, and it was not as good as Virtual Desktop, but it was free, I guess.
I've heard it here now.
The Virtual Desktop dev has like posted a bunch of stuff about it too, where it's just like, it's fine, but also mine's better.
Yeah, well, it does seem
and
to
I'm
be.
still working on other things.
Yeah,
it was weird. The people that were angry about it.
Yeah,
it's like, but Virtual Desktop did it first. It's like, that's fucking software.
Yeah.
Do you think he came up with the idea?
Yeah, ideas are worthless. That's the thing, isn't it? It hasn't been said for a while. But
and adding what was an obvious feature to a platform, yes, at some point.
It's a wireless VR headset. Yes, you want it to hook up wirelessly to a computer.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that. So, I'm just going to finish what I've got news-wise, because why not? The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is coming to Switch, which is 2 prequel games to the Ace Attorney series, which came out in Japan but now have been localized. Haven't played one of those in ages. In weird news, Epic has been adding some apps to their store, including Itch.
Oh, and they just bought ArtStation.
They just bought ArtStation.
Yeah. I like it. I liked that. Because I didn't even know it was out yet. I just loaded it up. There's Itch on the front of Epic Game Store in front of 180 million people have accounts or something.
Cool.
That's huge.
It's like, yep, this is Itch. If they actually integrated it into their store, it would be like, it's one of those things that like they didn't have to run any servers for it. I think it could still be on Itch's end or anything, but it would be such goodwill and give so much exposure to those things.
Lots and lots and lots.
It would be amazing.
Experimental stuff going on.
Everyone could play Juice Galaxy.
And everyone should play Juice Galaxy.
Well,
I should have. That should be on my list. Because I played it.
I'll add it.
Oh.
It would be a very interesting situation if they did that. Like, what would that mean for even Steam? Like, if now to get on Epic was as simple as publishing on Itch, and you're on the store, the Epic store, and like they're handling all the payment gateway and all that kind of stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Be interesting because Itch is my realm for questionably adult games. So if it starts being pulled into my Epic library,
What's Sam been playing? Oh,
at least Epic doesn't show you what I've been playing. I guess I actually don't have any friends on my Epic account.
Yeah. So that in a sort of weird story that came out today, there's just basically every studio at Activision is now a Call of Duty studio. Like everyone's being pulled into support. Toys for Bob is now being moved on to Call of Duty. They're still finishing Crash Bandicoot 4, but they're now a Call of Duty support studio. There's like effectively
are they just going all in.
It's just because this is the thing that makes Activision all the money. So
Just
pretty
going
much.
all in.
so it's all going to be COD Mobile.
All hands on COD.
Yeah, because their battle royale is making quite a lot of money, and they're just like everyone's working on that now, which is. What else we got? Blizzard, and we got Blizzard stealing Vicarious Visions to make a remake of a game that is good but old.
I wonder when Battle Royale will fall out of vogue.
Yeah,
Like
I
don't know.
I feel it will happen eventually.
I feel like it's just like things come up and but things can stick around for a long time. It's even like people saying, "Oh, what's the biggest battle royale?" And like the two biggest are ones I've never even heard of because they're not even big in the West, but they're just like Latin America and in certain parts of Asia. There's just these like huge mobile ones, which is just like
so huge, just because it's you buy it and you can get that like. You're just playing it forever.
Well, Apex Legends, they added their new game mode, a new permanent game mode.
3 versus 3 game mode.
3, which I guess is probably a bit closer to maybe Counter-Strike without the bomb.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like a bit like it was closer to, which I'm glad for because I really like Apex Legends. I just don't like BR as a genre.
There's a lot of them exploring like where to go from Battle Royale, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
What surprised me is that Fortnite has like stuck to BR as a because it seemed like Fortnite increasingly becoming
have they though?
But they've got their creative.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're
Fortnite
right.
has
You're
moved
right.
to becoming a media platform.
Well, that's
as far as
I thought Fortnite.
Go you count concerts?
Yeah,
because Fortnite is almost like the space.
It's two game modes
It's
now.
the playground, right? Like it's like kids going and like they just do stuff in.
Fortnite is slowly turning into Roblox.
That's what I was wondering. Like, is it turning into? Which I guess, like, yeah, I actually completely forgot about that creative mode. So I guess that is
so much
moving away
they're doing
from
a lot in
from
like,
BR.
They're still doing their like seasonal story stuff in the BR, but yeah, they're doing a lot of work in the creative, and then running the concerts and media events and like all this weird stuff.
Basically, it's going to turn into Second Life.
Yeah, which like I'm okay with that. That's pretty cool. Second Life's going strong. It's the one game my psychologist knew about.
It's an odd one for them to know.
So which game did they know about?
Second Life.
Well, it's because like my doctor and then is married to my psychologist. I got a referral to her husband.
Yeah.
But she's done a paper on psychology in using Second Life as a psychologist thing. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, it seems to be going that kind of like here's a virtual world direction, which is interesting.
Yes, because I heard that there was a Roblox style game that looks like Fortnite. It's on the Epic Store called Core. Apparently, I looked it up, but I don't know much about it. I just know that it exists, and I'm looking at a trailer for it, and it sure does look like a bunch of stuff. Someone's hoverboarding next to some cowboys doing a thing. Anyway,
portals and things. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it's as Roblox, it's a game creation platform as much as it's something to play. Man, a friend of mine wrote an article on Roblox and tried to make it interesting, and she did. So I'm like, oh, maybe I do need to look at this weird thing.
I know. I bought some shares in it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that this is gonna. I don't think Roblox is gonna go anywhere.
Oh no. My only thing was when they launched, the shares went skyrocketed so much. I'm like, is it overinflated at the beginning? But maybe not. I don't know. I literally do not know.
It was the first shares I'd ever bought.
That was the
Roblox. I'm gonna buy me some Roblox.
Should I invest in something ethical that I think will be good for the planet or anything? It's like,
it's not
Roblox.
unethical.
No. It's not. I'm not saying it's unethical. I'm just saying it's not in any way.
It's not investing in clean
It's
energy.
very benign.
Yeah.
In the worst case, it's fleecing children or children's parents is probably the.
Yeah,
well, I don't know how.
I'm okay with that.
I don't know how predatory Roblox is in terms of its monetization.
To be honest, from what I know, they don't like try to really make it a thing. It's just part of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing I've got on the list. Is it the last thing? I thought I skipped some stuff earlier. No, all good. There was a state of play yesterday or this morning. I can't remember. And it was to talk about Ratchet and Clank.
Yes.
But they said we'll have some updates on 2 indie games. And then, the day beforehand, there was an update to Outer Wilds on Steam.
Worlds or Wilds?
Wilds.
The good one. The good one.
The good one.
Oh, Worlds.
The good
No,
one.
we said the good one. Yes. That was. Did it have a name after it? Anyway, it's like Eye of the Storm or something. And it was like, hey, what's this? And Annapurna like commented on the tweet with just like a wink. Like, and it's like, there's a state of play tomorrow, and there's 2 indie games they're going to talk about. Oh, so those indie games were Subnautica, Frozen World, and Among Us. So who knows what this DLC to Outer Wilds is? But it could be anything. It could be nothing. But what's in the box?
I want to know.
It's like, well, we're going to have a pile that you can put money on. Like, oh, I guess so. What do I get for it? You get to make the pile higher. Okay, I guess just a few hundred.
You just described cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say we should make a crypto called Piles, but then I realized that's not
Probably already exists.
It's not a good name for those things. Yeah. So they basically the new Subnautica coming out. I actually haven't looked at any of that. That game looks banging. It looks yeah.
A lot of people are treating it like a sequel, and it's just like kind of not.
Well, I mean, it looks like it's expanded
It's
heavily.
the
It's in a new
universe.
place. Yeah, it's like it's a game in a new location with a bunch of new content, and it looks a little bit nicer.
And Subnautica was good.
That seems like a sequel to me.
Was it
True.
Was it
Yeah.
co-op? It was solo. I can't remember.
I mean, I played it all solo, so I have no idea.
I actually don't know. I've only ever played it solo.
Yeah, a good game.
Yeah. And then also you get a PS5 update if you're on the original game as well if you're in that. Blah 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 blah. Among Us is coming to PlayStation. Ooh. There's actually they've updated a lighting engine in that game. Like
They added a new map that
it's a
everyone
little
hates.
bit moody. Everyone hates everything new. I bet it's fine. I bet it's absolutely fine.
Apparently, it's too big, so the I've forgotten the word. The bad people.
Yeah.
Have
The
too much of an
imposters.
they have too much of an advantage.
Isn't the point then to stay together as small groups?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah.
It's just about how you play.
People
You
have
play
to,
properly.
Yeah, people have to change their game style. So instead of
Yeah, so it
adapting, they
sucks.
complain.
It's bad.
Yeah. Like, even the original last month map was like too big for most groups, but we just changed how we played. I'm like, I'm going to go with these 2 other people. Unlikely that they're both murderers. Oh, they're both murderers. Oh, damn.
They played me like a fiddle.
We don't know where Paul is. Maybe he's the murderer. No, I'm dead. Don't believe. What a game! Actually, I haven't played Among Us in ages.
No, not
It
in a
is
while.
fun. Yeah. So then it was Ratchet and Clank, 15 minutes. Have either of you watched it?
Nope. I saw there's a new character or something.
I think yes.
Yeah, Rivet, I think her name is.
Through it.
Yeah.
Didn't watch all 50 minutes of it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's amazingly pretty what they can do. So that's like I saw a post pointing out that even the eyeballs are ray tracing what's in front of them. So, and at a certain point, I was like, do I care?
Am I going to see that while I'm playing it?
Yeah, there's like they're doing a playthrough, and I think the game looks good, and it looks like a good Ratchet and Clank game. But all the fancy things don't really seem like the whole portal thing. The portal thing's very impressive technology.
Well, the loading between the portals is the standout to me.
But the thing is, the portals are sort of just like, at least what they showed in the game, it's like, at the end of this corridor, there's a portal, and you walk through it, and you're in an entirely different world. But gameplay-wise, effectively, that's just the same as walking into another area. It just looks a little bit different. It's like
it's just the teleport planes from literally UT99.
it doesn't even need to tell. If that thing wasn't there, you could just walk down to a room that just exists there, and it's kind of fun. When I think about like trying to do something fancy, I think about like the time travel level in Titanfall 2,
which could have been its own game.
where you flick. It's like where you have some control and that has some sort of gameplay impact, but really it's just being used as either grappling hook points or teleporters, and like making things look aesthetic in a cool aesthetics does make things feel good. Don't get like when I was talking about Dark last time. I'm like, this could have been a corridor, but instead it's a cool switch and it makes the whole world whoosh. It's like, aesthetics are important. But I'm like, there doesn't really seem to be anything new in this game. It's just a fancy version of that.
Yeah, my takeaway from it was it's been a long time since I've played a game like Ratchet and Clank, and it is the prettiest one I can see at the moment. And I'm sure it'll be very competent, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm not going into it thinking this is going to revolutionize that kind of like 3D platformer genre, but it's going to be a really good 3D platformer that looks amazing.
It sort of seemed like it had a lot more, like, you know, the vehicle use in the large areas and everything. It seemed like there's a lot of sort of driving traversal in it, which seemed fun. Like there's flying mounts and all sorts of stuff going on, and you know, it's got all its fun weapons. But yeah, it I think I'll probably still play it, but I'm not super hyped. I'd rather try some Returnal, I think.
Yeah, I'm really interested in Returnal now.
Yeah. Come on, Sony Contact. Okay, let's talk about some games we've been playing. Now, a game we've mentioned 3 times so far. The Longing.
Yes.
2019's biggest hit?
Was it?
I don't know. I don't remember when it originally came out.
I do remember seeing it when it came out and going, that's cool.
If you started playing it when it came out, could you have finished it by now?
Yes.
In real time?
In real time, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, 2019.
Okay.
If you were doing the full 400 days with the
Paul
speed up
right
off.
again.
Another point for Paul.
Yay! That's 3 in my life.
Yeah. So it's just come out on the Switch, so I bought it on PC.
As you do.
As you do.
It just reminds you to exist sometimes.
I was like,
do you want
that's been on my wish list since it like got announced. So I'll go. Maybe I'll get it, and it was on sale when I did, so that's always nice. It is such a weird concept of a game. In that
So it's kind of an idle game.
It's an idle game, but even a lot of idle games are like you come back to them every day. And there's stuff in The Longing where like it literally says, "Oh, this will be done in a week." And you don't really sure what else to do, so you just...
I feel like, why isn't this on phones?
You just boot it up every now and then and check look what's changed.
I feel like I want notifications.
So the general premise of it...
come back.
Yeah, the general premise is a game, you're a little creature deep in a cave system, and you've got the king, which is this huge statue, and he goes, I need to regenerate all my power, so I'm going to sleep for 400 days. Don't do anything and wake me up after it's done. Have fun. Don't go too deep into the cave system. And then he goes to sleep. And the timer starts counting down from 400 days in real time. And it counts down even while the game's closed. And then you're just a little creature that can explore. You walk very slowly. And it's like, it's click to move kind of deal. And you just, there's no guidance, there's no nothing. You just start exploring big intricate cave system. And you just start figuring things out and finding areas, and then there's a lot of stuff in the game that's like it starts a timer once you find something for that thing to then finish doing. So the very first thing you find is a door that's closed, and you stand in front of it, and it takes about a minute to open.
If you make it the non-active window, does it continue?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yep.
So it's just,
you can have it run in the background, so you could chuck it up on the TV and just have it as an ambient thing.
Fancy screensaver.
Yeah.
Well,
or you can just close the game and it'll keep ticking down in the background. The kicker with that means that it has to connect to the internet. When you launch it, it connects.
I was wondering if you just gone in and set your clock forward.
Yes. So apparently it uses system time, but I think it does a confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't... I think you can run it offline, but it still does a check if you're online to like confirm that you're not gaming it.
But what if you're moving between time zones?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
There's a lot of questions that I don't have.
I'm trying to think how I can game it.
What if you're in a jet?
Well, the thing is, like, it's gameable, but it's I don't feel like I want to.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a lot of games where I kind of want to game it, but because it's the premise of it. And there are things in the game, so you kind of have your little home cave, your kind of base, and it starts with just a chair, and then there's an area. It's like, oh, it's my instrument, but I'm missing the pieces. And then you've got a bookshelf that's got like 3 books on it. And they're just Creative Commons. So they're like Moby Dick is one of them. And then you can find stuff. You can
just read it in the game.
Yeah, you can just read the whole. You can read all of Moby Dick, and it's a minute per page. If you leave it to idle, if you click through the pages, every time you click to the next page, it advances a minute, so you can advance the timer that way.
Okay.
And then if you collect like furnishings, so like there's curtains, there's gems you can get. You can draw paintings if you collect like coal and paper. You can start a fire if you collect flint and coal.
So there's certain activities
like there's lots of objects you can
the time
find.
forward. Is that how it works?
The books will push the time forward.
Yeah.
Furnishings will speed the time up.
Okay.
Like it'll just be running
Yeah,
faster, but you can turn it off, and that's what I've done. It's a hidden setting to do so, but
where's the setting? How do you get to it?
You click that. There's a little hourglass in your room,
Yeah.
and you interact with it like 20 times, and then it just goes, "How fast is time going?" And you just go very slowly.
So we
just
just
goes at
check
normal
back with
speed.
you in like a year and a few days.
Yeah, so there's a few things going on there that I really like with this concept, because there is an area where you get to a map room, and it's like, oh, it's a map of the cave system, but you can't read the map in the cave system. What happens if you stand in front of it for long enough, it zooms out until you can see all of the interconnecting rooms. But then you've got to remember it, right? We just take a screenshot. I guess.
F12.
But there's a system in it, so you've got effectively a list of areas. There's a button you can click to just walk home from anywhere. You just click it and wait, and your dude will just walk home. There's a button you can click to walk to a random location, and it just picks somewhere. And then you've got a list of, I think, 20 or so where you can save a location, and then it gives you a button to just walk back to that spot. So you can, if you go somewhere and it goes, oh, I can't climb that cliff, but there's there's water dripping from the ceiling. Once this is filled with water, I'll be able to climb up. And then sometimes it goes, oh, it might be about a month before that fills up. And they're not accurate. Like there was one I said that was like, oh, it'll take about a week, and I think it's 2 weeks of in-game time. But you can just save that location, and then the window that shows them all has a little like screen cap of that area, so you know what all the locations are. And you're just like, oh, I'll just click there to go back to it, see if anything's changed or updated. So there's some nice quality of life stuff. There's a feature that I've just started to do with your fire, which basically guarantees to send you to somewhere you haven't been yet. Which is really nice. But yeah, it's just a game about exploring. It's like a point and click adventure game with like very slow advancement and progression, and like you find stuff that you can interact with, and then you do just like, oh, I could mine this off the wall if I had a Maddock. You're like, oh, I've seen a Maddock somewhere, I just can't get to that spot yet. Lots of stuff like that. You're just kind of discovering like the little secrets and hidden areas, and it's fun.
One question, Sam. What's a Maddock?
It's a pickaxe.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for asking. I'd assumed it was something like that. But
I assumed also, but I'm like, I'll just ask.
It's
so
a pickaxe that doesn't have the axe part.
Oh,
it's just how like a pickaxe is a point and then a blade. A Maddock is just a pick.
Okay. Today I learned.
We learned it. Good us. Okay, now it's Paul's time to shine.
It's a cool experience though.
Yeah, the longing. Well, I remember when it first came out. I was like,
it's really
this is interesting, idea. But I don't know if I want to actually play it.
The one thing I do know with it, just to wrap up, is that like the 400-day timer is kind of, after 400 days you can wake up the king, but the game won't end until you've caused it to end.
Okay.
And there's 4 or 5-ish, I think, endings you can get. All of them require you to interact with something. So once that timer's counting down, it just hits 0, and then it doesn't force you to stop. That allows you to then end the game, and you can end it much earlier apparently. Well, I mean, with all your time saving things and everything, because I remember supposedly like if you had like if you were playing it like actively for a lot of the time, other than when you need to wait for certain things to occur, you could finish it in about 20 real days. Which is a lot shorter than 400.
Yes.
I like to have it at the 400 because it seems fun.
Well, why not? Well, I'll check back into you in like
400
what, around late June, July next year?
See how much extra shit we found.
Okay. I have been playing a game called Filament. I actually had my eye on this one for a little while, but I have a lot of things on my wish list, and that's a wish list I just check and see when something's on sale. And it was on sale, so it got to buy. Filament is a puzzle game. It has a few inspirations from, say, a game like The Witness.
Okay.
And also every single indie game where you're on a space station, because you arrive at a space station and everything's gone wrong. Everyone's not there. But don't worry.
There's logs to look through, right?
There's logs to look through, and there's someone on the radio talking in your ear. Good.
Do you ever feel like in real life we should be leaving tape recordings
just
everywhere? Just random
that's
tape.
What the show is.
I feel like I need to.
Yeah. It really should
Just
be
random
yeah.
ones.
It's like, oh, it's episode 203 of 8.5-bit. I wonder if they said anything relevant to this situation. Nope, they did not. So yeah, it's played top down. You've gone to the space station. Honestly, the actual details of the story, I need to go back and actually check what's going on because I didn't care at first.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that all the voices in your ear are actual voice. There's text on the screen, but the lady talks to you, and she talks quite a bit. And as you walk around the space station, it has puzzle panels, basically. You walk up and you go, oh, here's a series of 5 puzzles to do. The voice keeps going as you go through. Unfortunately, I had the sound turned down a bunch, which is a problem with mobile stuff. So I kind of missed a few things at the beginning, but the place is all locked up and everything's turned off, and you're turning on everything and opening it up. Now, the actual puzzles are basically puzzles that you could create by getting a pegboard and putting in a bunch of pegs that you need to touch. Things you're not supposed to touch, and then you've got a piece of string, and you've got to run that piece of string around all the pegs.
Okay.
Yeah. And it works great. It's very good.
So it's got that kind of witness simplicity.
Yes.
And then this kind of subverted as it goes along?
Yeah, well, the thing it doesn't do, it can't build up the sort of language that the witness does, because the boards aren't... The genius of the witness is, boards are always kind of exactly the same. You're just learning how to interact with different elements. With this, you've got string, you're supposed to touch all the pillars, and the pillars light up, and then you'll get additional rules as the game goes along. But you're not going to look at a board and go, I understand what I'm doing here. You're going to go, oh, shit, let's just start experimenting.
Yeah.
And this is very complex. Okay.
He's just reminding me how good the witness is.
The witness is very good, and there's very few games that compare to that. But this game it takes inspiration structurally wise. But yeah, the puzzles are very good. So far, at least, there isn't any string length to worry about. So the string is infinitely long, which is good, because that would be, oh boy, if you'd solve the puzzle and then you didn't have enough string to get to the exit, I'd be very pissed off. But what they do is they have, so far, is very good at gearing up the difficulty. Starts off, and you start developing strategies that you don't necessarily even be conscious of. It's just like, oh, I understand that I kind of, if I see a group, I'll work from the center and work my way out, but I got to make sure I leave a gap so I can enter back in, and then I'll leave one pillar so that if I do have to go back in, I can use that pillar to hook on and then go back out. Stuff like that, like stuff you're not really even consciously thinking of, you just sort of become aware of as it goes, and then once you've done a chain of them, you start sort of freely exploring the station, and each area will have a gimmick. And those gimmicks so far have been pretty interesting, actually, sort of changing it up. And oddly, most of the gimmicks, at least when they start, I guess this is actually by design, they're easier because they add extra restrictions. Because when it's just, here's a large area with a bunch of pillars and obstacles, the possibility space becomes... But when it becomes like, for instance, you might have one that these pillars have to be done in a certain order.
Yeah, I can
You go like, oh, well, I know I can't start with that one then, so I've got to start over this side, and you're instantly done. They have a weird hint system, which is both good and bad. When you go into the options, they said, do you want to turn on hints? If you turn this on, you can't get this special achievement. I'm like, I'm on the Switch, and I don't feel like I really need this credit in my life anyway, so yes, turn it on. I want to check out the hint system. All it does is it'll look at your chain and it'll put wherever you've gone wrong. So I'll put a red mark over that, and the pillar you should have gone to instead, a green mark over that. And you can use it twice in a level, which I think is silly, because sometimes levels can be very, very complex, and if you exit the level and re-enter it, you can get 2 more hints. So here's an idea I've seen in many, many puzzle games. Just make the hint reset every 2-3 minutes or something.
Yeah.
It's like, if someone's really struggling and they don't know where to go next, just refresh it.
Or if you have a hint system, just let people use it.
Yeah.
Why overcomplicate it?
Why restrict it?
Yeah.
I'd probably, like, if I had a choice, I'd probably put like a small timer on there to stop me at my worst moments of humanity.
Yeah.
You go, no, Paul, you can...
Fuck it, just give me a hint and let me through it.
But I often, like, if I'm in a really, like, you walk in, there's like 30 pillars and it's a big room, you're like, honestly, just tell me which one to start at.
Yeah.
Because that gives me a starting point. Because, even if you break it down to which ones you could possibly go to, there's 6 I could go to.
So it'll give you the hints. If you back out and go back in, you can get two more.
You get new hints.
Does it reset the puzzle?
Yeah.
So you have to remember the previous...
Remember what you've done, but that's not normally that
Yeah,
hard. Like
yeah.
when I'm saying big possibility spaces, I don't mean like hard to comprehend spaces. It's like, no, I go over to the right and then I go up.
Yeah,
and
that's an odd choice.
Yeah, I think they could have just given you more or have a timer reset or something. There's a bunch of other options. It's a small problem. And as I say, like, and if you do want more hints, you just exit it and go back in. But I really, really enjoyed the puzzles. And as they've become more complex, it's sort of like... when we were doing Murder by Numbers last year, and we're like, oh, look, I just sat down and did 20 puzzles in a row. And eventually it's like, I just do 1 a night.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It's too many. So I still do like a couple a day at this point of the game. Not at the end of it. But also, as in, you're collecting logs, you're finding items, just like there's a bunch of character in the world. And the one voice actor there is, the woman, she's good.
Yeah.
She's nice to listen to. There's a good character in there. It's simply done. It's a good puzzle mechanic. It's just one of those things when I saw it, I'm like, I bet that the feeling is that looks easy. I bet it's not. And you just suddenly, once you start looking into it, you're like, oh shit, it's all geometry. And I like geometry quite a lot. So I'm like, about the only problem you sometimes get is the filament itself, the string you're pulling behind you, has width. So sometimes if you go through a gap with it and you try to come back through, that width has been enough to close the gap.
Oh, okay.
But it's not necessarily readable. There's nothing to indicate that. So sometimes I've gone like, oh, well, I just do this loop, and I pop back and I can't leave. Shit. Yeah, there's just a button to rewind. So there's a button to restart the puzzle, there's a button to leave the puzzle, and there's a button you can hold down to just rewind until you get to the point you want. And also there's a button to run so you can move really quickly if you want. So it's like, it's really tightly put together. It's good puzzles. I find it, and I haven't actually done puzzles like this. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it. Even if it does do a bunch of tropes that are really, really, really obvious. But well done. Okay. Shall we talk about Root?
Yes, let's.
Okay, we have all been playing a board game called Root, but we've been playing it digitally because we don't like seeing each other in real life that often.
And
this is a video game, sure.
It is.
Yeah.
And we also all have things to do in life.
Getting together people to play board games, even though we're doing it.
I was going to say, it's surprisingly hard. That's why we've done it.
We've done it actually this weekend. But yeah, because I've been on a bit of a board game, kind of like card game, board game kind of fix
and
at the moment.
Sort of a turn-based board game for, especially you and I in our current points in life, is actually way more doable than sitting down and playing a round or something.
Yeah, because like the turn, like you finish a turn in more than 2 minutes, really. But just like it's nice. Like, all right, I got my turn. Like I know I've got mine now. So after the show, I'll get home, I'll do it, and then whose turn is next? Probably your turn.
We'll find out.
But yeah, it's been a nice, because I think Root, it's not a super long game either. So we're not playing like Galactic Imperium or whatever it's called. Yeah. Like no.
Considering we're currently waiting 2 days for someone to make their turn on one game, if it were, that game would take years.
Yeah, we've been playing a long time.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting game in that at least the base package of it has 4 sides. You're battling for dominance of a woodland.
Woodland animals.
Yep. There's the cats. There's the
birds.
Makita
cats.
Oh, you remember the name of all of them?
No, I remember Makita cat.
Yeah.
And then there's the
Iris.
The Iris. And then the Woodland
Alliance.
And then the Vagabond.
Vagabond, which is a little mouse. No, the Woodland's mice. Who's the Vagabond?
No, the Woodland's a mix.
Yeah, it's a mix. It's the people.
Anyway.
It's the foxes, the mice, and that's the third one. Can't remember.
The unique thing about this game, and thing that's both interesting and and hard about it, is that each side is totally different. Really,
it's basically a different game for each side.
It's 4 games, and they've just added 2 more sides, which are also
their own game.
Yeah, that are also new games. And so our first round, we just did things and somebody won.
Especially because I was playing the avian side, and oh boy,
James screwed up real. So let me win.
So the avian side is about the only one that I could remember because I'd heard this game spoken of before, where basically your gimmick is that you have laws that you must abide by, and at the beginning of each turn you have to add another law. You can actually add more laws if you want, but by default you've got to add it.
Only one.
And those laws will be: you have to move, you have to recruit, you have to build, or you have to fight. And then all the cards that you get in the game have different areas sort of on them. Sort of the suits, yeah. So you might actually say like, oh, I have to fight in a fox area, which means if on that turn you cannot fight in a fox area, your leader gets disposed. Yeah. And you lose points, which is the number of cards in the hand.
So it's per wild card?
You lose the number of wild cards you have in your decree.
Yeah.
So it's the bird suit is the wild cards.
Yeah. And then you have to pick a new leader, which gives you a new set of base rules and a sort of a little additional rule that comes along with it. So you're playing the politics game.
And the planning for that one is very interesting because you need to look at the state of the board and go, right, well, if I want to fight Paul or whatever, or I want to build here, and it's going to be in this color, and I put down this card to say I can build in the red fox area, I can only do that for 2 turns, max.
Yes.
And by that point, I need to have claimed this other area, so I need to be able to fight in there. So the level of planning you have to start doing for them is...
Well, it's something like... You're aiming to keep it for as long as you're guaranteed to go into turmoil and lose your leader. You want to delay it as long as possible because you get so many actions per turn. Yeah. They start to just ramp up.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I realized at the moment is I was in the new game I'm playing as the birds, and I've got a few points in recruiting. So at the beginning of each turn, I get a few new birds. Great, except there's a maximum number of birds.
Yes,
and
so that can screw you.
I've just been focused on expanding and building because that's a good way of getting points in the game. And now, oh shit, I need to start fighting because I need my birds to die or I'm fucked.
Well, another thing I've noticed that you do is you move from place to place a lot.
You're like
back and forth.
And I love that, like, it's the idea of like this incompetent bureaucracy where the birds have said no.
We have decreed you have to move 3 times.
Move 3 times
so go
per
there, come
day.
back, and go there again.
This must only to the mouse area.
Move to the mouse, move off the mouse, and back to the mouse.
We have decreed it.
So what often will happen is that I go like, oh, I've got 2 moves left. It's like, oh, well, I need 3 people over there, but I've got 5 people, so I'll move 5, and then I'll move 2 of them back.
And we've had all this conversation about
That's
one. This is for one side.
The others are just as complex.
Because then you got like the Makita cat, and that one is probably the most basic one. Yeah, so that one, you basically, I think it's 3 actions a turn.
Yep.
And you can either move the 3 move, build, recruit, fight. But then there's like overwork to get extra wood. But they're more about building. So they get points from like building down workshops and sawmills and recruitment stations, and then they cost more to kind of make new ones. That's how they get the victory points, is mainly through building.
The cats get points through buildings. Yeah. So the idea is to expand and hold. Yeah. And then just expand and build, let it get destroyed.
And then there's the Woodland Alliance, which I'm going to need you to explain.
I heckin' love the Woodland Alliance. It's very strange to start off because obviously, like, the board state at the start is cats and birds, and then the vagabond is somewhere, and the Wood Alliance has no starting point. You place supporters, which are little they count kind of as buildings, but not. They're not like fighting units, and a supporter in a clearing just like it affects everyone else. Yeah, but it doesn't really gain you much straight away.
Well, sure, because they generate outrage, isn't it? So it's like if you put down a supporter in a cat area, and then the birds move into it, they're outraged by this kind of military action that's messing with their forest.
You have a number of supporters you can play a turn, and it's based on those suits, the 3 suits that match the clearings. Yeah. And one of the actions you'll turn is to discard cards to gain supporters of that suit. But anytime it outrages, your opponent has to discard a card to add to your things. So, like, you can steamroll and kind of build up a lot of supporters. And once you've built up enough, you can revolt. And revolting destroys every enemy unit in the clearing, buildings and fighters, and builds a little Woodland Alliance base that starts supporting warriors. Yeah. And then you add on, like, more actions because you now have warriors that you can move, and you can turn a warrior into a supporter. And then it just steamrolls.
There's the Vagabond, where you're playing an adventure game.
A lone adventurer.
A guy that wanders around, sneaks through parts of the map that no one else can go to. You go into tombs and get items to solve quests.
And little quests.
You have items that you can use once per turn, and then they refresh it afterwards.
And you can befriend the other sides.
You can aid people to get items that they've made.
And then if you befriend them enough, you can actually control their units.
It's so different.
So,
and it's the kind of what I figured out with the game is like, you do tutorials, you kind of get a feeling for like what each thing does.
The kind of the base mechanics.
But then you play your first game and you just slowly start to realize the strategy behind it all. Like very slowly. You're like, I get the interactions that are now going on.
The really impressive thing is that there's the 4 sides all so drastically different, but they're all building off the mechanics of each other.
Yeah.
Like even just like
because it all really boils down to the clearings and the suits at the end of the day, really. Like those are the 2 important resources that everyone draws from.
Oh, there's cards, like some of the items that you build, especially when you're the Vagabond.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because like a card will mean a very different thing to different players in the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards that like you get 2 victory points, but you get a Vagabond item. But if you're not the Vagabond, it doesn't matter. It just means that the Vagabond can trade that item off of you.
Yeah. It's all super interesting. And what I found, so our first game was just a cluster going around. Like I was going for a win, and James and I were just fighting each other constantly.
Meanwhile,
I'm
Marxist over here.
building a little Marxist army.
I didn't notice Sam was like 1 move from victory. It's like, I guess Sam's won this one. And now that we're all a bit more comfortable, everyone's really playing their role, but no one's really countering other people yet, and I feel there's
a point. It's like you're scared. You're like, I don't want to attack you because then you have a reason to attack me, but it means everyone else has a chance to get away with what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, who do I focus on?
Balance.
At what point does someone get too powerful that we need to take them down, and then by me I'll weaken my own hand, and does that make me a target, or does that? It's fascinating. It's a very interesting game,
and the presentation is beautiful.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Like the music, the art, like I've been playing. Like saying, I've been on a bit of a digital board game kind of fix at the moment, and it's amazing how many of them are terrible. Like I got Pandemic. And like all the interface is horrible. Like the fonts are wrong size. Like it's all functional, but it's like a programmer put the interface together. And to play Root, whereas like
it feels like a video game.
Yeah,
like it feels like it was. If I didn't know, I wouldn't know this was a.
This was actually a tabletop game. Yeah.
About the so I'm playing on Android. You're playing on.
I'm playing either phone or iPad, iOS or iPad,
and I'm on Steam.
On Steam, yeah. So we're on different platforms. I'm playing it on my phone, but I've also just put BlueStacks on my computer. So if I'm sitting at my computer, I can leave it open on another window.
That's a smart move.
On Android, I get weird notifications with it. I'll get like, "Hey, it's your turn." I open it up, and it's not. And often I open up the game and it goes, "Hey, it's your turn. Do you want to load the game?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess I will." And it's still not my turn.
Because I guess
there's definitely some bugs.
Yeah, and where the async stuff does fall apart a little bit is where you've got the interrupt cards.
Yeah, that's
because
sometimes a bit
that's
of a
where
bugger.
like it doesn't quite work that well, because like you get notified, "Oh, it's your turn," but really it's just you've been attacked.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you have an opportunity to play a card?
Yeah.
And because it's the person whose turn it is, they then have to hold that whole time waiting for you.
And I think that's probably.
And then they know you've got an interrupt, even if you don't use it.
Yeah. And that's probably maybe the one point where I think the digital version kind of falls down. But I don't know.
The other thing we were saying before is it's weird. There's 2 options for move length. One is 3 minutes.
One is 3 days.
And one is 3 days.
Yeah.
One's too short and one's too long.
Yeah. Like, where's the one day?
Give me a 12-hour limit on there, because in case someone's asleep or something. It's like,
so that depending on it can kind of like slow down a bit, but it'd be nice if there was just something in the middle.
It does seem weird, because it would seem like something that you could just put
make a setting.
Just give it a slider if you want, or
just let me type it in.
Okay, before we move on, there was this new story I skipped. We're already super late on it, but I can't. We've never spoken about. We need to. Just remind me sliders when we finish this.
Okay, you like sliders as in the TV show?
No.
Just the word.
It features sliders, but we can talk about sliders too.
excited.
I was rewatching it recently.
How's it hold up?
It's what you expect. Anyway, so it's been really interesting. I don't know, because I think the expansion pack is almost as expensive as the base game.
Yeah.
I like that you can go to the tutorials for the new.
I think
I've gone and played one of them so far.
Because it adds the
lizard cultists, which are the most beautiful design I've ever seen. It's these little dumb lizards in robes. like just doing hand wavy quarters signs.
Yeah, and
with
what's
their
the
tongue
other
hanging out.
side?
And it's the otters. I can't remember the name of them, but they're basically they're
Are
like
they
commercial.
utterly delightful?
They're commercial like merchants.
What-
They're like merchant otters.
What theming this game has?
I know, it's
It's wild.
Yeah, well, like after we've been playing it, I went and looked at Amazon, and you can just buy meeple packs.
Yeah.
Like there's a Vagabond meeple pack, and I was seriously tempted just to get it, just as little display pieces of the little
what's a
meeples.
meeple?
Oh, the little
little
wooden
figures.
little wooden figures.
So kind of like amiibos, but not as cool.
No, they're like the actual game pieces.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
they're called meeples. It's just the little wooden bits.
I just wanted to talk about
They're
amiibo.
miniature people.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, they are. It is. It's great theming, good design. It is. Like it. I think it is. It's going to take a few games.
complexity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take a few games until we really are comfortable with what we're
I
doing.
also like that with a map. They have the second one, the second map.
Oh,
which
the
is-
winter one.
It's randomized clearings.
Oh yeah.
So I think like once you've played it enough and you kind of know the strategy, because those clearings are always the same.
Same.
Like I think a lot of the strategy can revolve around knowing what to put where, especially with the cats.
Yeah.
That like once everyone's kind of got a handle on it, having the randomized map, same way
Yeah.
like Catan does it, adds that little extra like twist of
Yeah.
keeping things fresh.
I've been enjoying my time with Root.
I don't know if you've done the tutorial for the DLC.
No, I haven't.
The cultists
yet.
are insane.
Sounds
They just
good.
have a button that
Well, they are
lets them like
cultists.
convert buildings or units to their
really?
own, and they can go on crusades, which is move and attack in one hit.
So what I kind of like is the pricing model for it. Like they've kind of flipped it where normally one person needs to go buy the game and make the big cost, and now just by making it digital, so you can just spread it. And because I think like we've got 5 people into it now, and so it's $15 each. So I'm not sure what the actual base game costs,
sure.
but it's probably getting like pretty
Yeah,
comparable.
yeah.
Most games like this
Yeah.
are like
Plus,
in the
there's no
$80
production
region.
cost.
Yeah,
to get it out.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the obvious
Yeah.
production of creating it. Yeah.
One thing that would be nice is if for the DLC, if it could be something like if one person bought it, they could
Then
just make
everyone
the
can-
game
and everyone can access it in the
because
game,
like
yeah.
having like the cost of the original game
I think
as a
if,
DLC.
I think if you've got the DLC, it lets you play as those two.
But the other people can't.
But I don't think the other people have to have the DLC to play in the game.
with that side.
Because the tutorials exist, right? So
Yeah.
it's all in there. So,
So,
I think
maybe-
buying the DLC lets you play as those.
I think
okay.
having one person owning it and letting everyone else access it would
But,
be nice.
yeah.
Like if the person who's hosting the game has the DLC,
Yeah.
anyone
Then
can
it's-
pick.
yeah.
That would be good.
Anyway, it's good. I'd like to do some more digital board games. It's
Yeah,
been
well,
fun.
there's a lot of them out there. It's just finding the good ones because there's a lot of
And async is not all of them have async.
and not all the async works.
Yes.
That's one of the things I found. Like looking at I think
Really nice.
Terraforming Mars. I think is another one I was looking at, but I think the async
Scythe
sounds like a
apparently
bit.
has some issues.
Yeah.
It
Scythe
seems
as
kind
well.
of crazy that it's just not like a solved issue because we've been doing async board games since electronic communication existed. Like we've been doing chess moves and email.
Yeah,
games
People
and
have been
so,
doing
forever.
play
I
by
mean,
email for a long
Yeah.
Like
time.
I've written async stuff before, and as long as you do it from the start, it's not so bad. And if you're doing like a board game, you from the start, you
you imagine that would be kind of the entire
like
concept.
if you engineer it around almost being like a an undo stack, like it's like where you have like a state and you apply things to it. Because then what you do is you have everyone has the same state, and then you just basically sending around your moves. And so that's where I don't know where the thing falls apart, like because architecturally wise, it's not that complicated. Like, I don't know.
So my excitement there was actually nothing to do with what you're saying. For some reason, you just reminded me that DEF CON exists.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we should
We should just play a dead game of
real time
DEF
DEF
CON.
CON.
Just chuck it on. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it. It's been how long has that games came
Oh,
out?
I probably haven't played that 15 years.
Yeah, I was
maybe?
thinking 15
Yeah.
years around. Jesus.
For anyone who doesn't know what DEFCON is, it is a very slow-paced game of nuclear war.
Yeah. Which you play in real time if you want.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all the missiles, you just see them slowly
Yeah.
traveling across the world.
Yeah, all those subs that you spent 8 hours
Positioning,
moving to the other side of
So good.
It's like even big fights. Just like everything's on like 0.1 times speed.
Okay, so Root, that game was called. It's a game.
It's expensive for a mobile game, and you need to get everyone in on it, which is the other tricky thing.
But if you've got a crew of people that want to do board games, it's not a...
To be
not a
honest,
thorough
it's
option.
also made me want to go get the physical copy to have in my collection.
I feel like I like the digital game because especially when it comes to like giving out cards and everything, it's going to be... I feel like I'll make mistakes.
Quality of life is so much better.
Yeah. Oh, actually, just because I'm still on this. So there was a game I left it off. It's called oh, hold on, let me get the name of it. It's a solitaire game that I've been playing called Onirim. Which I was the same boat where I've been playing a bit of it and I thought I'd buy it, but then I realized it's probably better digital. So I like solitaire games. This one's a pretty simple one. It's like it has an odd theme about dreams and labyrinths and unlocking doors, but the basic idea is you've got kind of two suits, the suns and moons, and four colors. I think 4 colors, and you're basically just like making strings of the same color. So if you got a moon down, then you put down a heart. Sorry, a moon, a sun, moon, and then you unlock a door. It's like the basic thing. Then you can also get door cards, and there's key cards. And if you get both of these at the same time, you get a door. And the idea is to basically get 2 doors in every color, and then that wins the game. But the complexity comes from there's these like nightmare cards that you draw out, and when you draw a nightmare card, you have to basically throw away your hand, throw away 5 cards from the deck, throw away a door, or throw away a key. And it's just to get like 5, get all the doors before you run out of cards. Simple. And I really enjoyed it. I'm still enjoying it. But playing it, every time like you get a nightmare card, you have to basically shuffle the deck. And so like playing the digital version, like I'm watching how much shuffling's going on. Like it's basically like if you draw like a door card which you can't play, it like goes into this limbo state, which I guess is you just putting it off to the side for the moment. But then when it comes to dealing the next card, you got to shuffle it again because there's certain cards that have to go back in. So it's odd. Like this has been designed as a physical card game first, with a whole lot of shuffling.
It's a good way to learn shuffling.
It is a good way to learn shuffling. The Onirim. It's a fun little game, and it's the actual, like what I described there that's the base game. But then there's like little expansions. And the first expansion you get is just for like making an account. And there's like, so yeah, you can kind of pick and choose what expansions you want to have in there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I think it was pretty cheap, I think. Yeah, that one.
It's free on Google Play.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, like it's free on Google Play. Go grab it.
It has purchasable stuff, but I think the only purchase thing is one of the expansions for 99¢.
Yeah,
so
I was like, cause I like little solitaire games. I like, like it's fun.
Okay,
good little time waster.
Sliders. So we did not talk about, and this was sort of around the beginning of April, Intel doing a thing which they should have said was an April Fool's joke, but they didn't, which was their AI censorship software, which I believe is called Bleep.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen this, James?
I vaguely remember it.
One thing that software should never have is a slider for white supremacy.
Oh, yes, now I remember.
Yep.
Yeah.
A tick box for the N-word? How much body and slut shaming do you want in your game? Now, so the idea, whilst not something I think is good for society, I can understand the origin. Hey, let's make sure there's we've got our cool like noise cancelling AI. Yeah. We've got all this other. What about one that stops inappropriate smack talk online? Just takes it away from you. Well, I can see why someone might think that's a good idea in a horror future where everyone's a monster, but and I can then understand if you were engineering such a thing, why you would have a specific part of the algorithm that can detect white supremacy and things like that.
Oh, because you've had to collect all the white supremacy data, run it through the kind of neural net learning thing, and it's stored in the...
Now the computer knows what white supremacy is.
It can recreate it at will. But then what you don't do is make a publicly facing slider.
You don't expose those options to the users. It's an on or off.
I just want to... Yeah, you just like it's
on
like,
or off.
It's like
a chat filter.
Yeah, it's like do I want it to be G, PG, M, or R?
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Don't expose the details.
Don't say, oh, I like a little bit of white supremacy.
Just a smidgen. Just a pinch.
But dash. Weirdly, I like a little bit of white supremacy, but I like no racism. And it gives you an interesting mix. It's like I think whites are the best. Who do you think they're better than? Nobody.
I just wish there were better community standards on the services where these things are happening.
Yeah.
It's the issue with like whenever things are filtered or things like that, you just someone somewhere has had to collate what to filter.
Yep.
And it's like it just means that you're just storing all that shit somewhere.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, the nightmare I just had when you're talking about this, when you're talking about like turning it back on, like those kind of like baby. That like the Facebook bot stuff, where there's like manufactured outrage. Like the AI could go the other way, whereas like you could just go, look, just go troll SBS News Facebook group with stuff that's going to generate outrage, and I
think that already exists, James.
Well, I think at the moment it's like done by people.
It was
I don't know how much
that Microsoft did that one time with the Twitter AI.
Oh, when they got real
like,
racist.
Where like 4chan got a hold of it
and
made it really racist.
Yeah,
It's an interesting, dangerous area to work in.
While you're saying people, I actually don't think there's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of things that are being designed and like they're making basic chains and everything and stuff, but then it goes into an automatic process. It just puts stuff out because it's not. You don't need much to bait people.
Oh no. No.
I should know because I'm a real troll sometimes.
Because you do it.
It's like, I bet this person will go absolutely mental if I point out they used the wrong "your"
right now.
So that made me laugh a lot. So, who here has played Resident Evil Village?
Nope. I mean, I noped out of the last demo.
I haven't played it.
So, here is...
I sure have experienced it.
The insanity of Capcom. So, they released the demo. I was not paying attention because you needed to play the demo within 8 hours of them releasing it. So, I didn't get to play the Village demo.
Yeah.
The next one, I don't know, what's it called? House. I don't remember what the next one was called. It opened up later in the week. Just happened to be the time I loaded it up to play. I didn't know I'd missed out on one demo. I'm playing the second one. I guess the third one, technically. And this was one where you're going around the house and you go into like a crypt and you fight a bunch of things and then you get a shock scare at the end and then you watch a trailer. And it's weird. I wish before the show I'd remembered to boot this up and give you the controller because they've done some insane things. Okay, first up, I think they've had this in the ones. When if you're choosing to invert, you can invert on the horizontal. Why has anyone ever put this option in a machine? It's insane. So I was extremely excited to see they've added gyro control.
Oh, okay.
Wow, this will be great for Paul. Gyro aiming is the best thing the Switch ever introduced. Let's see how this works. So I believe it actually disabled my ability to use the right stick to turn. I could only use gyro. Oh. And it was a little bit like... sort of like you'd turn it and the screen would start rotating and then you'd stop. Oh. Like you'd have to be like physically moving it.
It's the flight model I hate.
Yeah, it's like the worst feeling thing I've done.
It's where you're controlling a cursor based how far the cursor is from the center.
But you can't see the cursor.
But you just pick up a switch and the problem's solved.
Yeah,
just do it. Load up Splatoon or load
Pokemon
up
Snap.
Pokemon Snap or Duke Nukem 3D.
Pokemon Scott's got gyro aiming?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm more sold on that. It's like, this is a solved problem basically. But it feels like they said to someone, we want you to implement motion control aiming in this game. And they just generally described it and that person had never seen it before.
Turn the control and the camera moves.
And like it technically is working, but oh my... Maybe there's someone with some disability where this is the only way they can do it is by moving a giant thing around with huge motions. That's the only possible way I can see anyone ever using this option. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, the demo itself, short, sweet. It didn't really tell me a lot about the game. I got to meet that shopkeeper, the big fat guy. Doesn't seem as fun as the old...
Didn't say welcome?
Yeah, welcome. No, he's it's one of those things. They've gone for a real character. Like, he's massive. He's like 16 foot tall and he's very rotund. It's just like, you're like, how are you getting into these rooms? It's like you've actually created a logical problem how you're getting around this world. That was okay. And they give you one of the daughters to fight, and I don't think she actually takes damage from bullets, so I feel like I'm wasting my bullets. And then when other enemies started coming at me, they throw a lot at you. Like, I'm like, I'll try fighting them. Wait, why are there 5 in this room suddenly? I guess I'll run past them all. And the demo was limited to 30 minutes. So it becomes a thing of like, you're like, I don't know how long the demo is. So I basically...
time.
Yeah, I've played the demo in 10 minutes. I'm like, I could have experimented fighting those things longer. Because I also don't need to save any of my ammo because I know there's no end after this game. I can just waste everything and it's fine. So it's weird how they put all these restrictions on it. But now I believe this weekend I think both demos are now open and they're on more than the PlayStation.
Yeah, PC as well.
PC as well, and hopefully it means Xbox. It's just really a fucking demo for everyone. Like,
why complicate it?
I understand doing the preview one on PS5. Like, that's a special deal. We'll do this. We got a special. It's a non-interactive demo. Basically, it's just an atmospheric thing.
Still, cool. Still James fails.
But just release a demo on a date and say the demo's there? You can even do a Balan Wonderworld and remove it eventually once the game's out. Balan Wonderworld didn't do well commercially. But, yeah, I don't know why they overcomplicated it. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling the love.
From
RE7. Yeah, well, Village. It's weird. They never call it 8.
Sorry, yeah, 8. But like the love... Like, because 7 was really cool.
7 was really cool, but I didn't love it until we played it. But then also, when they had a lot of enemies on screen, I'm like, oh, do I want a keyboard and mouse to play this? But I also like playing RE games couch with James, where we just pretend that we're big, strong boys. Yeah, I don't know. It's. I mean, I'll probably still play it.
I mean, we normally play RE games, so
yes.
One of us will pick it up.
Yeah, I might need you to do the shooting because I'm still not a good shooter on a controller. I don't know. I just can't get it.
You just have to do about 250 hours of Destiny 2.
Well, I choose no.
Yeah, that is the correct choice.
Just add good gyro aiming, Capcom. Come on. Maybe if we get the streaming Switch version, we can do it. That'll be good. Anyway.
On a related note.
Yes?
Capcom, as they, sponsored I can't remember the name of him, but a YouTuber that does like Mythbusters type tests stuff to figure out if you die if lady, whatever her name is, stepped on you. Like legitimately, they paid this dude to properly test it.
Excellent.
It's like, Capcom, what are you smoking? What are you on?
I mean,
you know what you're doing, but what are you on?
Yeah, a regular sized lady stepping
it's like
on you in the right way.
Like the internet was like, but how tall is she? And Capcom's like, here's how tall she is. And then the whole internet was like, step on me. And like, okay, this is what would happen. It's a very strange world.
Oh, the world is wild. Okay, we're getting closer to the end, but do we want to mention Juice Galaxy? We've mentioned it, I think, twice.
Look, I have one problem with Juice Galaxy, and it's that there's not enough of it.
Yeah, Juice Galaxy.
This is a game that infinitely generates a world.
What is this Juice Galaxy?
Oh, James, have you not seen it at all?
No.
We've spoken it because you were out of the room when we first played it.
Monstrosity of weird, and I love it. It's so good. I got to plunge a giant toilet blockage.
All right.
I got to slap a rat around. I could fly forever.
Give us some proper resolution on this thing. Let's jump a little bit forward in this trailer because you can't listen to the steak lady talking. So it's sort of like kind of like Die by the Sword.
Yep.
Yeah, you got a free motion sort of physicsy
with a car you can drive.
With a car, that's great.
Yeah, in a wild. It's like if you can't afford acid, this game might be
it's
a
the
way.
Closest thing you can get.
But also on acid, it may be also improved. Yeah, so it's a sort of a third person action adventure game with some wacky dialogue and characters and scenarios where most of the time you're picking up an object and you're flailing it around freeform with its physics. And it is surprisingly good. It looks...
It is, yeah.
It's like...
I love the art style.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It like most things that are like physics controlled for combat, it is messy and it can sometimes be a bit frustrating in that, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, actually.
It got really good when I picked up a gun that shot pineapples that exploded.
Nice.
Aiming it was basically like impossible.
Yes, and you can get this game on itch, and it's pay what you want. So that number can be 0, or you can push 0, try it, and if you like it, go back and pay $4.20.
That's what I did. Not $4.20, but I went back and put some money in.
Well, there is no acid number.
I had a good time with it.
Ooh. Good. I just got electrocuted through the microphone, so I'm like, something is not grounded somewhere. Yeah. Oh, I hate that feeling. Sometimes I just be
lips.
you'd be singing in band, and suddenly you just be like, "Oh, my lips are more fiery than normal." Is the PA doing anything weird? It seems fine now. I think somehow the laptop was pinching something. Oh, a little fiery. I'm going to go check some cables after this. There's not enough voltage. It's plugged in by USB. There's not enough voltage to kill us. Just spice us up. Okay, what have we got left on our list of fun? Which did I actually leave our list to?
So there was another card game I played called Jaipur, which I played on phone, but I also own the physical version of it, just to kind of go back to the card game stuff for a sec. It's a 2-person trading game, which may suffer from Orientalism. I think it's okay, though.
But you play it with your wife, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And she is an honorary.
I think she's just an Oriental. I think Malaysia counts.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Don't just that word.
Okay,
that word's got problems.
All right,
It has
all right.
a lot of problems.
That's all right. We won't judge.
It was funny telling
Just the listeners will.
Cheryl's mum that Orient was apparently a little racist.
Yeah.
She was very amused by the idea.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Oh, I think most people don't give a shit.
Yeah. So it's a very simple trading game, which I kind of wish you could play with more people because it is really fun, very quick. But you can also grab it on mobile, which I bought and fun to play, and Cheryl bought. And I thought, this will be fun. We can just do it, play with the internet. But I can't log in and make an account. Something's broken. So that was fun. But the card game's still good. But yeah, if you want a little like trading game where it's just about there's a track of resources in the middle that you both every turn you have an action. You can either take a card, trade some number of cards. Or take the camels, or sell. And the camels are basically wild cards. It's a pretty simple thing, but a lot of fun. Just like sit down, a round goes. You finish a round in, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or something. It's pretty quick.
I like a simple, quick card game.
Yeah, but there's also a mobile version that's pretty good. You just may or may not be able to play with other people, but it's got a whole campaign in there as well.
Awesome. Okay, I think that kind of brings us to the end of today's episode. I did some stuff in VR, but I honestly can't remember. Hey, you ended up playing Fisherman's Tale, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, it's real good.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, Paul's like, hey, you should play Fisherman's Tale. It's real good. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. Oh, all right, whatever. I haven't played a VR game in a while.
And didn't make you motion sick?
Didn't make me motion sick, and it's real good.
Yeah, it's a cute little game.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more from them. Okay, thank you for listening or watching to 8.5bit. You can catch our website, 8.5bit.com, our Twitter and Facebook. Please like and share anything like that. Subscribe to us on whatever the hell you want. You can join our Discord at discord.8.5bit.com.
Join our Root game if you want to come in and play, if you're looking for people to play.
Yeah, you probably have
we
to...
didn't mention. You can just have like as many games as you want at the same
time.
time.
Yeah. Play simultaneous games. Yeah, you probably, if you wanted to play Root with us, join the Discord so you can find us in our names so you can play with us.
Mm-hmm.
So that works out too. And we'll catch you all later, folks.
See you, everyone.